Welcome to another Friday night. It is your Friday Night Smackdown review. Week 2 of 2-hour Smackdowns. I think someone forgot to tell WWE, based on the ending of the show tonight and the abrupt cutoff at the very end, that they were not going 3 hours tonight. In fact, they are back to 2 hours for what ended up being a very eventful, not a great, but a very eventful episode of SmackDown, where at least there were some important things that happened. It wasn't by any means a throwaway show. The biggest of all being that we got not just a new Summerslam match announced, but arguably the biggest Summerslam match that will be on the card this year was made official tonight. We had the brand new WWE Champion CM Punk in the house tonight. He is now officially a member of the Blue Brand for the first time since coming back to the company 3 years ago. And that match is going to be, to the surprise of no one, if you've been paying attention, CM Punk defending the WWE Championship against Cody Rhodes. This is a match that they have held off on doing ever since Punk came back to the company. They've had little moments, interactions, and backstage segments or in-ring segments that teased a future match between them. Absolutely a WrestleMania match at any Mania you want to do it in. And we're getting it at SummerSlam this year. Biggest reason we're getting it at SummerSlam is because they have a shit ton of tickets left to sell, and don't let anybody tell you any differently. But I'm glad that we're finally getting it. You know, it's a match I've been waiting for a very long time. Again, it sucks that Sami Zayn got shuffled to the side to do it now, of all time. Sami Zayn, by the way, not on SmackDown tonight. We were told that he is taking a mental health break. However, we do know he will be back next week. And the reason that we know that is because we finally got a real match made official for Saturday night's main event. Yeah, they realized, oh shit, we have a Madison Square Garden show coming up on Peacock next weekend. We should probably put some star power on there. A show that desperately needed some star power. And now we have a tag team match that was also made official, where it will be Cody Rhodes and CM Punk teaming up to take on Gunther and Sami Zayn. That will be our main event on Saturday night's main event next weekend. And not only did we have that, we're going to get into all of that because there was a show closing angle. Really, the most important things that happened were the beginning and the end. The beginning is where we got the announcement of Cody and Punk. The end of the show is where we got the announcement of the tag team match next weekend, but also Gunther did not take the news very well. And Gunther attacked Nick Aldis repeatedly, even though you had 12 people out there who couldn't pull this man off. Put him in the sleeper hold several times. So we got one SummerSlam match officially announced. We have the other SummerSlam match that's all but official. I mean, if you needed any further indication of what Gunther is going to be doing on that show, you need not look any further than that closing segment. We will be getting the first Nick Aldis match in WWE. It's only a matter of when they announce it. And so clearly they are moving forward with him and Gunther going one-on-one on that show. So even though Gunther is going to be involved in this tag team match next weekend, anybody thinking that this is going to be some sort of fatal four-way situation at SummerSlam and they're going to add Sami and they're going to add Gunther, that pretty much went out the window with the show. Although doing a fatal four-way I don't think was ever realistic to begin with. We also had a non-title match on this show between Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, with the idea that if Melo could beat Trick, he would earn the right to challenge him for the United States Championship. And in the course of this match tonight, something happened. Something happened that I was not anticipating, which was the return of a former WWE champion. And I don't mean world champion, but someone who has held gold before in WWE, somebody who's been away from the company now for several years. We got the return tonight that I think many of us were expecting, but not in this spot. This is not where we were anticipating that this man was going to pop up. Baron Corbin is back on SmackDown. Baron Corbin interjected himself in the middle of this non-title match between these two U.S. title competitors, immediately thrusting himself into the U.S. title picture, when a lot of people, myself included, were led to believe that he was going to have something to do with Danhausen. I wonder who's under the sheet now in Danhausen's laboratory. He, in fact, was not under the sheet, or maybe he was and he just broke free. I don't know. But I was actually very happy to see him here because it meant that he was not going to be involved in the silliness with all the Danhausen stuff. And if he's going to have a shot at a serious push this time around, that's not the way to go about doing it. The fact that they are putting him immediately in the U.S. title picture tells you that, they hope he can be a player in the mid-card on this show. And I think he absolutely can be. It's just funny to me that for all the years that he spent in this company, and he went through so many different gimmicks and just, oh my God, he went through so many just different nonsensical stories and bullshit. Constable Corbin, King Corbin, and Happy Corbin, and Bum-Ass Corbin. The Lone Wolf just feels like a distant memory. Remember they sent him off to NXT? And he actually had a good thing going for a while with Braun Breaker, the Wolf Dogs. And they didn't want Braun Breaker doing the tag team thing on the main roster. So when they called Corbin back up, they tried to replicate it with him and Apollo Crews, but it just wasn't the same. But that period of time there where he was called back up and he was basically in the babyface role was probably the first time that he had some real legitimate fan support. And that's when they got rid of him. So my hope is that he can kind of recapture some of that. I mean, this is the first and maybe the only time that you will ever hear Baron Corbin showered by holy shit chants from an arena full of people. This man got holy shit chants because they were so shocked or happy or both to see him back on this show. I don't know that that moment for him will ever be replicated. One can hope, though, that this run will go better for him than the last one. But that definitely shocked the hell out of me. I was expecting him back. I was not expecting him back in that spot. Jade Cargill. We know that she is on a collision course with Charlotte Flair. That is another match that is not yet official for SummerSlam, but we all know it's going to happen. And so tonight, the sacrificial lamb was the bestie. Her best friend, her tag team partner, Alexa Bliss. She was the victim. She got to play victim to Jade Cargill and remind everybody that she is double jointed in one of her arms. And that could be a very useful thing, even though this is an angle that we've seen done at least twice before over the last decade. It's been a while since the last one, and I'm sure all the new fans who have no idea are looking at this in horror as Jade Cargill snaps Alexa Bliss's arm and makes Charlotte Flair watch. She is helpless to do anything but just sit there and watch as Alexa Bliss gets taken out in what I thought was actually a very effective angle, to further things here between the two of them. But that was kind of the gist of SmackDown, really. I mean, when the show was over, it's kind of weird. Like, there were a lot of things that happened. But I can't sit here and tell you it was a great show because it really wasn't. Things happened, but I can't call this a great SmackDown. SmackDown was basically what SmackDown normally would be. There was bloodline stuff on this show, which is just boring me to tears. Doesn't seem to matter what show it is, Raw or SmackDown. It's just, it ain't hitting. It ain't hitting the way that the bloodline stuff used to. This is what happens when you basically run a different variation of the same angle that has been going on now for what, 6 years, 7 years? About 6 years now. Somehow this company has gotten me to a point where I actually found myself tonight rooting for Solo Sikoa over Jacob Fatu. What have they done to Jacob? What have they done to Jacob Fatu in these last couple of months? Where I'm sitting here and I'm like, hey, I'm actually rooting for Solo. Amazing. Let's talk about this show. This is your Friday Night SmackDown review. It is July 10th, 2026. I am not Solo Sikoa, but I am the Solomonster, and I thank you for being with me here on a Friday. Like and subscribe. Super chats are open. Release the Kraken. There you go. They'll start popping up on your screen there. We got a bonus goal going in the live chat. And I will be reading all of your messages a little bit later on here in the stream. So go ahead and get those on in. And let's spin the wheel right now. Find out how many likes we need to do our Be the Booker segment a little bit later on. Let's take it for a spin. Spin, spin, spin. Here we go. What do we need? Lay it on me. 350. I mean, come on. We could do that sleeping. We're already at 223. 350 likes is all we need. A very modest goal tonight. And we will do at least one round of Be the Booker. So get those likes on in. As we kick things off here. Hey, JKE. Welcome to the channel, brother. Bliss fan, I know Bliss fan is very upset over the treatment of Alexa Bliss. I am sure that when Jade cranked back on Alexa's arm on the show tonight, not only did Alexa's arm break, but I think a piece of Bliss fan's heart broke as he watched her writhing on the mat in pain. I felt for you. You were the first person I thought of when I saw that. I said, I hope he's not watching live. Now, after highlights of the CM Punk return in Chicago on Raw Monday night, and him beating Sami Zayn, ending his reign at 9 days to win the WWE Championship. That's how we opened the show. We cut back live to the ring where Nick Aldis was waiting. SmackDown general manager who had been sent home on administrative leave, even though he never actually left. He was on Raw Monday night in Chicago, and here he was in Oklahoma City tonight. And the first thing he did was he apologized to all of the fans for his part in the incident with Gunther at Night of Champions. And while he feels justified for his actions, he takes full responsibility for his part in the incident. He is very happy to report that after mediation, he has officially been reinstated as the GM of SmackDown. And he is now ready to deliver for us, the SmackDown fans, which includes this moment right now. And he introduced the new WWE champion out to the ring, CM Punk, for what is technically his debut as a full-time member of the SmackDown roster. Punk was sporting a black eye. I don't know what from. Maybe it was a haluva kick on Monday. Maybe it was the GTS that Sammy gave him. But in any event, Aldis welcomed him aboard and said, "The floor is yours," as the crowd began to chant for Punk. Bliss fan says, "I'm numb." Bliss fan is comfortably numb tonight. Bliss fan is hitting the bottle hard tonight. You might want to pull yourself away when I get to that part of the stream a little bit later on. I don't want you to relive the trauma of tonight. So Punk says he missed us. Over the last 2 months, he's been negotiating with WWE management, NBC Universal management, and the USA Network, all spearheaded by Nick Aldis, to bring him here to SmackDown. And there is some truth in that, because the reports, I think it was WrestleVotes, that said this is something that, you know, NBC Universal wanted. They wanted Punk on this show for as long as a year. They've been dying to get him on the show. Now they have him. The belief is that he's going to have a lengthy run as the champion. Of course, creative is always subject to change. To me, it doesn't even matter if he's the champion. Like, if you're NBC Universal, what do you care if he's the champion or he's chasing for the title? As long as he's in the mix, right? As long as he's on the show every week, you put him on the posters, you want him doing media. Does it really matter if he's the champion or if he's challenging for the title and chasing for the title? They got what they wanted. They got him on SmackDown, and not a week too soon. Because if SmackDown could use anything, CM Punk is certainly one thing that this show could use. Believe me, this was the right move to make. I said that from the moment he lost that championship at WrestleMania. Get him on SmackDown. He doesn't need to be on Raw. Get him away from Roman Reigns.
Look at Richie Rich over here dropping all this money on me.
Look at who it is.
I just want you to know, I think you rock. I don't mean The Rock, A-Rock. You rock. And I just wanted you to know that.
Oh, it's my boy, James Crawford, coming in with a $100 super chat. Says, "I love you, Solo. You are my IWC tribal chief." Now he's singing Cody's old song, Smoke and Mirrors. "You're only smoke and mirrors to me" is a very catchy tune. Just ask John Cena. He loved that song. And I love that super chat. Thank you, James. We heard from James last week. Look at this. He's back for an encore this week. We got a bomb. I thought, for a moment there, I'm not going to lie, I thought it was a Boots bomb, because Boots actually was the very next message in. And I think my eyes kind of conflated the two. I can't give Boots the bomb credit here, but I will say thank you to Boots for the 10. He says, "Kathy Kelly, oh my goodness." Calm down, Boots. Put your boots on. Take a cold shower, buddy. Thank you to you both. Back to the Punk promo, though. Said last Monday, those negotiations were expedited. He got a phone call telling him that the WWE champion needed a challenger. So he said when championship opportunities fall out of the sky, CM Punk catches them. He put his gear on in his house, he kissed his beautiful wife, and he drove across town to the Allstate Arena, and now he can stand here and ask, is it great to be alive on a Friday night in Oklahoma City as the new WWE champion, or what? If we saw what he did on Raw with the World Heavyweight title, said that he intends to be that kind of champion on SmackDown as well, which includes wrestling on TV, which includes defending the title. He does it because it puts pressure on him and it puts a target on his back. He knows that locker room is filled with hungry, talented individuals that want what he has. So he's going to make this very simple for anybody in the back. If you think that he has something that belongs to them, come and get it. He's not hard to find. Oh, I just realized we don't have to listen to Cody say that anymore. That's one of the best parts of Cody Rhodes no longer being WWE champion. We don't have to watch SmackDown every week and hear, I'm not hard to find, but I'm hard to beat. Well, you got beat. You got beat, so now we don't have to hear it for a while. Thank you, Sammy. He said he's going to defend that championship with blood, sweat, and tears for all of us.
Look at Richie Rich over here dropping all this money on me. Hey,
oh my goodness.
I just want you to know, I think you rock.
Oh boy.
I don't mean The Rock, A-Rock, you rock. And I just wanted you to know that.
He goes again. James Crawford says, Boots who? Oh my God, he's throwing shade at Boots. Oh boy. Remember Sid after the Rumble in 92? After he dumped Hogan, then Hogan got him dumped, and there was a whole thing in the ring when the match was over. They were being separated. And there was that one fan in the crowd that had a sign that said, Hulk who? And Sid pointed to it as he looks at Hogan, goes, Hulk who? Hulk who? That's what James just did to Boots. He held the sign up. He's saying, Boots who? Boots who? Thank you, James. Hey, James is on one tonight. I love it. Punk said Sami Zayn. He heard what he said about Punk on social media. He understood how he feels. He gets it. If you want a shot, you deserve a rematch. I'll give you a shot. He says, who else? Who else in that locker room? He says, Gunther. They're not strangers, the two of them. They both remembered what happened the last time they wrestled. He said, if you think you can beat Punk, come and try, because he knows that he can beat Gunther. It's true. SummerSlam last year. Not even a year ago. He beat him to win the World Heavyweight Championship. Who else? Says, who else is there? Finn Bálor. They went to war twice recently. Anytime, any place. If you think you got what it takes, step up to the plate. Royce Keys, he said. Damian Priest. He was avoiding a certain name. He mentioned Royce Keys and Damian Priest and Trick Williams. And then he was interrupted by Cody Rhodes. And Cody came out to the ring without his suit jacket. I was stunned. He grabbed Punk's chin. He wanted to get a closer look at that black eye. Just like a little callback there to Cody and his black eye after WrestleMania when Punk looked at him and was like, what happened to you? So Cody asked him, how's your eye? And Punk said, you didn't come out here to ask me about my eye, so what do you want to talk about? And Cody remembers Punk saying championship opportunities fall out of the sky last time they were in the ring together. And there are those matches, like the one we saw on Monday, where an opportunity comes up and he just seizes it. There's matches like that, and then there are championship opportunities that have been building for years. So Punk assumed he was talking about him against Cody. Maybe subconsciously they've been avoiding each other for some time because the two of them are friends, and he really doesn't want anything to come between them. He always thought when this happened, though, it would be in the main event of WrestleMania. Yeah, so did I. But he doesn't think the two of them can run from each other anymore. And Cody said, no, I don't think we can. But when Cody was the champion, he recalls telling Punk, just say when. And so Punk got up at his face and said, when? And so the fans chanted, OKC, OKC, which they weren't doing in the NBA Finals this year because OKC was not in the finals. But nevertheless, so they were chanting OKC, OKC. And of course, Cody said, SummerSlam. And that's not what the fans in OKC wanted to hear. And so there were some boos. But Punk put his hand out and Cody shook it. Nick Aldis was still in the ring and he said, it looks like it's official. CM Punk defends the WWE Championship against Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. And just like that, it was very simple. It was very quick. It was very simple. We have a main event for, and I don't just say main event for SummerSlam. If you are of the belief that the bigger main event is the one that closes the weekend, so the night 2 main event, I give to you your night 2 main event because Cody Rhodes against CM Punk is a much bigger deal than Roman Reigns against Seth Rollins. That's night 1. Again, if you think that it matters, that's night 1. This is night 2. This right here is the real main event of SummerSlam weekend. This is a match that has not been done in many, many years. I think the only time these two ever wrestled each other, I know they wrestled on Raw. I'm trying to remember what year it would have been. God, I mean, I want to say 2009, 2008, sometime around then. It's been a long ass time. And those were two very different performers back then than they are now. Right? They're a lot older. They're a lot more experienced. They're a lot grizzled, more grizzled than they were back then. They're both either world champion now, former world champion. So for all intents and purposes, this is a fresh first time ever match. And CM Punk being on SmackDown, obviously they're making that out to be a big deal because it is. You know, it is a big, that's why they wanted him. That's why NBC Universal wanted him on SmackDown. So I'm just saying, regardless of what WWE does, and I do think that they'll close with this, but regardless of what they do, this right here, this is the big main event of the weekend. Roman and Seth are going to have a great match. It's a retread. It's a retread. You know, I mean, these two have been off and on. They've been together and feuding for fucking 14 years. You know what I mean? Like, who cares? Give me something different. This feels like something different because it is. They've tap danced around this match for a while. I thought maybe there was a chance we might get it at WrestleMania this year at one point, and we didn't. But we're getting it here, and I'm very happy about that. But again, it doesn't get any more straightforward than the way they laid this out here. And I said this on the podcast this past weekend. I was like, if they do this match at SummerSlam, we're less than a month out from the show, right? We're talking really about 3 weeks worth of build here for a major match like this. Can you adequately promote this match in 3 weeks? And the answer is yes, because at the end of the day, what is going to carry the build to this match, right? The promos. We know Punk can hold up his end on the mic. I mean, Punk can sell ice to an Eskimo when he's motivated, and you give him a great opponent or a great story. That's undeniable. I mean, even when the Punk shit was going on with AEW and all that stuff, I mean, that was one thing you can't ever say anything bad about Punk's ability on the microphone to talk people into the building, right? That's not something that ever left him. So between his ability on the mic, and Cody is no slouch himself, honestly, a lot of his promos seem to just, especially now, they sound very samey. But when he's motivated, and when he has good material to work with, Cody is an A1 promo himself. I think these two working against each other should bring out the best in each other. I like Cody being in the chasing spot for a change, when most of the time it feels like he's in the, defending champion spot. This is a little bit different for him. And so I think in 3 weeks, you'll have plenty of time to, build this up in the way you need to, just by having them go out there and cut promos on each other. Honestly, or do some, sit down interview type stuff. What I was going to say, and it's funny because I made a little bullet here in my notes about, and this, mind you, this was at the beginning of the show. I said, you can do this without all the usual wrestling tropes. You don't need the can they coexist tag team match. You don't need the contract signing, right? Meanwhile, by the time this show is over, we already found out we're getting the can you coexist tag team match. And you know damn well we're going to get a fucking contract signing. So we're going to get all the usual tropes regardless. I'm just saying they don't need it here. And there's a lot that can be said, I think, and a lot that can be done in 3 weeks to build this match up in the way that you need to build it up. Ideally, you'd have more time, but it's not like it isn't doable. It's not like that isn't a big match that's going to get people very excited for SummerSlam. And also, here's the other thing I would say about this. This is the first match of what may well end up being multiple matches. And I'm not even saying they do them consecutively. Maybe they do the first match here. Maybe they don't touch again until WrestleMania next year. Whenever it may be, my hope is that the next time we see it, one of them is a heel. Right now, it's babyface against babyface, right? For the first one. For the next one, whenever that may be, I don't even necessarily care who it is, although I would much rather see Cody go heel right now than Punk. But a heel Punk could be fun too. But either way, the next time, hopefully one of these two is not the, rah-rah babyface, I'm here, blood, sweat, and tears. I'm here for all you guys. Like, fuck that shit, right? One of them will hopefully go heel at some point, and the next time we see it, the whole dynamic will be turned upside down. Maybe it's wishful thinking, but that's my hope anyway. But they've kept them apart for long enough, these two. The two that got away from Tony Khan. Two of the biggest names, maybe the two biggest names, quite honestly. I was going to say two of the biggest names, the two biggest names that got away from Tony Khan. There's a lot of fun to be had here with these two. But you can't escape the feeling that the primary reason that we are getting this at SummerSlam this year, and this is absolutely 100%, I don't want to say the only reason, but the main reason that we are getting this match in 3 weeks' time, is because they have a shitload of tickets to sell for SummerSlam. The ticket sales for SummerSlam are not good. And by the time we get to SummerSlam, they'll have 30-something thousand, whatever they'll claim, of course, but they'll have, more than what they have now. I think this match was going to move a lot of tickets. I do think the announcement of this will juice up the ticket sales, but where they are now, they're in like the mid 20,000 range. And WrestleVotes had something earlier about how there's some degree of panic or concern. Not that it kind of snuck up on them. They've known for a while that ticket sales for this show have been very soft, but they also didn't have a card announced. Now the card is starting to take shape, so we'll see, how those sales accelerate, but they need attractions. That's why they wanted to do Obafemi and Brock Lesnar inside Hell in a Cell. They have that. They've got Roman and Seth. They could do their Shield blow-off match. And now we have Cody and Punk, which is a major match, right? A lot of star power in that match. That's the reason why they're doing it. Look, I know, wrestling promoter promotes wrestling match that they think will sell tickets. Yes, duh. Of course, all wrestling promoters book matches that they hope are going to sell tickets. But the reason we're getting this match now is because they have a lot of tickets to sell for SummerSlam. And we'll see if it works. As far as Sami Zayn is concerned, he was written off this week under the guise of he himself had requested some mental health time. He needed a mental health break is what he needed. Apparently, if you saw that crash out when Raw went off the air, he cut a hell of a promo, a very heated promo, which they did show later in the show. A very heated promo on CM Punk. We'll talk about that. We had Finn Bálor against Tama Tonga. Featuring Kairi. Hey, Brandon Proctor. Thank you for the $15, brother. Screams for Kairi. Venom Kitetsu. He's pushed the button. He has activated Brie mode. Brie was very upset last week that she only got 3 minutes for her match with Lainey Reed. And this week she got 0 minutes because they were not on the show at all. They will, however, be defending their tag team titles and losing them to Fatal Influence at Saturday night's main event. So we'll see them next weekend. Tama Tonga was out there in Tama's corner. He grabbed Balor's leg, which gave Tama a chance to take advantage ahead of a commercial break. Bálor had the crowd very solidly behind him, so the match actually had some pretty good heat down the stretch, entirely because the people just liked Finn Bálor. But Tama hit a running splash in the corner. He was setting up for another one when Bálor charged at him and took him down with a sling blade and then a shotgun dropkick. Tama Tonga, he ran distraction, which allowed Tama to hit the cutthroat and got a near fall out of that. Bálor sent Tama out of the ring, and then he took both of them out with a flip dive out over the top rope. He very quickly rushed Tama Tonga back inside, and he finished him off with the coup de grace. Finn Bálor is no more. How about that? Finn Bálor actually wins a match here on SmackDown. I'm pleasantly surprised. Now, granted, of course, it was against the MFTs, so, what does it really mean? Because the MFTs don't exactly have a lot of momentum right now, or what's left of the MFTs don't really have a lot of momentum. But if you're Finn Bálor, you kind of take him where you can find him. So it was nice to see him pick up a win here. It also looked like Tama Tonga hurt his leg. It was on the dive spot when Bálor went sailing out of the ring and took both of them out. As he fell to the ground, you could see him grab his, I believe it was his left quad on the way down. And then when the match ended and Bálor quickly got out of the ring, Tama Tonga stepped over the top rope into the ring, and he was walking, but he was still grabbing at that quad. So hopefully he just, if anything, hopefully he just pulled a muscle. Guess we'll find out soon enough. Backstage, R-Truth was paying out on a bet to Axiom over Team USA's loss in the World Cup. And Nathan Frazier said that Americans are better off at eating hot dogs, but the Europeans are better at real football. Which is undoubtedly true. I don't think there's nothing factually incorrect about anything he said there. The War Raiders showed up, and Eric told, really both of them were tired of the bullshit in the games, but Eric is the one who really did most of the talking here. And he told Truth that Nick Aldis is here tonight. You wanted Aldis. Priest had said, let's wait for Aldis to come back to make this title versus title match official. Well, Aldis is here tonight. So why don't you go talk to him about us having our match? Jimmy Uso and Jacob Fatu entered. And Jimmy stood up for Truth, and then the War Raiders took their leave. Jimmy indicated that he was looking for Solo Sikoa. And Fatu asked Truth if he had seen Royce Keys, and Truth got very nervous, and he claimed that he had never seen him before. Damian Priest showed up. Priest said that he saw Royce Keys, so he knows that he's in the building tonight. Jimmy and Fatu, they left, and then Truth asked Priest, why did you tell him that Keys was here? And Priest remembered telling Truth previously that Royce Keys is not their problem. Elsewhere in the back, Nick Aldis is on the phone, and guess who he is on the phone with? He is on the phone with Sami Zayn, who is not present in the building tonight. Again, he is taking a mental health break. So they really didn't talk about much of anything. This was just their way of having Aldis articulate for us on television that Sammy told him he's taking a mental health break. I thought he was maybe going to announce a match right then and there. I thought he was going to give him his rematch at Saturday night's main event against Punk. Instead, Gunther walked in. And so that conversation quickly came to an end. Gunther looks behind Aldis was a TV screen that had the match graphic on it for SummerSlam with Cody and Punk. And so Gunther is just glancing over at it. And then he looks at Aldis and he says, you need to fix this. He wanted Aldis to give him a championship match, and he gave him until the end of the night. You have until the end of the show to fix this. And Aldis said to him, I'll take it under consideration. Jacob Fatu and Jimmy Uso, they were in the ring, and they were requesting the presence of Solo Sikoa. They didn't get Solo Sikoa. Instead, they got Royce Keys. Jimmy said, you don't look like Solo.
I am the learning.
Shut the fuck up. You look like the learning tree. Fuck that tree. That's right. Down with the tree. Venom Kutetsu, thank you for the $12 learning tree. I am the learning Brie, he says. Thanks, gents. There was no learning tree and there was no learning Brie. Although I did see right before we went live, for those of you who may have missed it, Tony Khan tweeted out some breaking news. Hangman Adam Page is returning on Collision tomorrow night. Yes. Out of nowhere, because they're in Virginia, which is his home state. But with no fanfare, no television announcement or anything like that, he's just back. So if you want to see Hangman, you're going to have to tune into Collision. There you go. For those who don't know, now you know. So Jimmy said again, you don't look like Solo. And Keys said that the issue that he has with Jimmy is last week you mentioned my name. This week, you mentioned my name. So guess what? And this is what he said. He brought Royce to that ass. I don't know about that line. I don't know if that's going to stick. I brought Royce to your ass. That's what he told him. But he guesses that Jimmy's here to handle that family business. He goes, that family business is affecting everyone around here, and it's starting to affect me. So Jimmy said, tonight, it's all about OTC business. Keith said, OTC? The man that you run the place for? The man who's not even here? So Jacob objected to this. And so Jacob stepped up to him. That's his boy, right? That's what they've told us, that these two are just thick as thieves. They go back a long time. So he steps up to Keys. Fatu says, the two of us are tight, so let's keep it that way. Keys can say anything else about anyone, but when it comes to the OTC, he said, please, I'm begging you, please, don't go there. Jimmy told Keys that he doesn't tell them what to do. He's not part of this family. Keys said the blood doesn't make your ass family. It's loyalty that makes your ass family. You know how many family members he lost? Said your family has brother fighting brother and cousin fighting cousin. I wish I had family that I could text and call, but Jacob knows this. He knows I ain't got no family. Jacob's been a brother to him and he refuses to let him fall. So Jimmy said that Keys was about to cross a line that he can't come back from. Do you understand me? And Keys said, I didn't come here to fight tonight, but guess what? It looks like there's a line right there. And he took a step and he said, and I just crossed it. Jimmy said that he and Jacob will put a beating on him worse than anyone has ever beaten on him or beaten him, whatever. I've just completely lost my marbles here. They're going to beat him worse than he's been beaten before, is basically what he said. And Jacob said, we? He goes, there ain't no we here, Big Jim. This one's on you. I'm out. And Jacob left the ring. Jimmy said, all right then, Nick Aldis, get a referee out here and let's make this thing official. And he told Keys, you can't come back from this because that line right there. And then he went to go cheap shot him. Keys, though, stopped him and he sent him out over the top rope with a clothesline and they cut to commercial. This was a very boring segment. This was a very boring television segment. And I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. I mean, I'm glad that Royce Keys is getting some promo time, but this bloodline stuff, man, this was very dull. But it did lead to the next match, which was Jimmy Uso against Royce Keys. Now, what this match should have been was Royce Keys laying a beatdown on his ass. That's what this match should have been. That's not what this match turned out to be. Jimmy flew out of the ring at one point with a pretty bad suicide dive before tossing Keys over the announce desk. They took yet another commercial break. After that break, Keys landed a pop-up power slam for a 2 count. And then down came the straps. And out goes Jimmy. He rolls out to the floor. Keys goes out after him. He picks him up. He drops him not once but twice on top of the announce desk with the world's strongest slam. And then Keys hoisted him up on his shoulders. Jimmy, though, sent him face first into the ring post. And now Jimmy is leaned up against the timekeeper's barricade. He's trying to catch his breath. He's trying to collect himself. And all of a sudden, out from behind the barricade, we see Solo Sikoa. He really loves those red, the pants, right? The red pants. He's been wearing red for weeks. I don't know why he doesn't have blue. You wear red on Monday. You wear blue on Friday. But red is the only color that apparently he has in his wardrobe right now. But there he is behind the timekeeper's barricade. And he attacked Jimmy. He was about to spike him when they played Jacob's music, so he spared him. And out comes Jacob Fatu. Solo wasn't running away. Solo met him right at rings. As Jacob came down, they met outside the ring. They started going at it. They ended up over the timekeeper's barricade. Actually, Jacob went kind of to the side of it, but whatever. They ended up getting taken out in that area. All of this, though, distracted Royce Keys long enough that when he turned around, he ate a spear from Jimmy Uso. And Jimmy Uso went ahead and pinned Royce Keys to win the match. Good Lord. After the match, Fatu got Solo in the ring. He stomped him in the corner. Keys spun him around, and Fatu didn't hit him. He was very upset, though. The two of them were, actually, it was more Keys that was talking to him. Fatu looked remorseful, but then he super kicked Keys, and then he gave him a running standing senton here. Jimmy slid a chair into the ring. Fatu placed a chair around Solo's head. Solo was sitting in the corner. Fatu backed up. He was going to go for the running hip attack. As he came in, though, he put on the brakes. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, I thought he was all gas, no brakes with it. Apparently not. Because tonight he put the brakes on. And then he knelt down in front of Solo, and he said, you better listen up on Monday when we speak to you, because next time he won't stop. And Wade Barrett on commentary said the message that was being sent is that Solo should come to Raw on Monday so that they could speak to him on behalf of the tribal chief. And Joe Tessitore said that Raw would be fascinating given what just happened. No. No, it won't. There's nothing fascinating about any of this. They actually, I said at the beginning, they actually found a way to get me to cheer for Solo Sikoa, and it's the weirdest thing here because I don't know who anybody is supposed to be anymore. There's so much in the way of like shades of gray, and shades of gray could be a good thing, but like it's kind of like the Death Rider stuff. After a while, you don't know, like, am I supposed to like these people? Because I really don't like them, but like they're putting them in there against heels, or the people in the audience are like cheering them, or they're split, and I don't know what this is supposed to be. That's basically where we're at right now with the bloodline from one week to the next. Roman never changes, right? Roman Reigns has always been a heel. And the fans can cheer and they could chant OTC all they want to. He's a fucking heel, okay? That hasn't changed. That's very well established. He's an asshole. So we know that. So then we have the Usos. And again, it seems to change from week to week. The people love to yeet when Jey Uso comes out. But even Jey, like sometimes he gets all like riled up about something, or he gets up in like LA Knight's face or whatever it may be. And we don't know if he's supposed to be a heel or a babyface. Jimmy, same thing. Jacob, I don't know what the fuck is going on with Jacob. It's sad. It's sad that I was more into seeing what Solo Sikoa was going to do tonight than Jacob Fatu, but this is where we are. Solo, like, is he going to go babyface or not? I don't know, but it seems pretty clear to me that come SummerSlam, it's going to be a six-man tag because all of these men are intertwined, right? Tonight it was Solo and Keys. The only person who was not on the show tonight and involved in all this was LA Knight. And if they're saying that they want Solo to come to Raw on Monday, then that's probably when we see LA Knight get involved in this. And we'll get a six-man tag. And it'll be Jacob Fatu and the Usos against Royce Keys, Solo Sikoa, and LA Knight at SummerSlam. Right? It seemed very likely for the past week or so that that's the match that they're building towards here. But, you know, watching Jimmy, you know, beat Keys in this match with a fucking spear, it was just depressing. It was, I was really hoping this match was not going to go that way. And then they did it. And I was like, oh, God. Speaking of, oh, God, there he is. There's Vince. Say hello to Vince McMahon, everybody, on your screen. Who was that? Who sent that super chat in? Raheem Cody. Raheem Cody says Punk's chest hair is his waxer on leave. I don't know. I wasn't really paying much attention to his chest. Thank you, Raheem Cody. Sami Zayn. His social media video from after Raw, the one that I referenced earlier, the crash out, they showed it here on this show. He was complaining about CM Punk, ruining not just his title reign. I mean, he said after 24 years, how could this guy come back when he's been gone for 2 months? He hasn't even been around. He just shows up, and just like that, he's the new WWE champion. They censored him. He called Punk a motherfucker. So Kathy Kelly interviewed Punk in the back, and she asked him about Sammy's comments and Gunther's comments. I just noticed we are 1 away from the bonus goal. Very good. By the way, for those of you joining late, there's the wheel. 350 likes was the main goal. We have surpassed that. We are now at 409. So we are guaranteed 1 round, possibly 2, or 9 out of 10 on the bonus goal. We'll see how that goes. But Kathy asked him about the comments being made by Zayn and by Gunther. And Punk said he hopes everyone is upset that he's wrestling Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. Said that he wants everybody to be upset about it because they can get in line behind them. And Punk said he's been called much worse, especially on social media, than what Sami Zayn called him. So Punk turned and he saw Johnny Gargano, what else? Planking on a crate. And Candice LeRae was standing right next to him. Candice says that, Sami Zayn might be annoying, but he never gave up on Johnny. There was hope for people like them because of Sami Zayn, and Punk stole that from them. And Punk says, he hopes that Johnny can hear him. He remembers the real Johnny wrestling. And Candice, too. He says that they should be in the ring doing what they do best because this isn't working. It hasn't been working for months, but that hasn't stopped them from continuing to do it. So he turned to go leave, and standing there is Finn Bálor, smiling in his face, and Bálor welcomes the champion to SmackDown. I look forward to the inevitable third encounter when Punk beats Bálor again. I said before, Finn Bálor is gone, but I didn't say Finn Bálor was gone forever. Finn Bálor is gone for 1 night. He's gone for 1 week. He'll be back. Oh, he'll be back. Finn Bálor, from what I understand, I got some breaking news here. This isn't even news that Meltzer had, or Sapp, or anybody else, or WrestleVotes, or WrestleVotes, or anyone. I hear from my birdies and my sources that Finn Bálor is actually away on vacation in Ireland. He's gone back to go, visit the family and, just do what you do in Ireland. I haven't been to Ireland. It is one place I would like to go to one day, but he'll be back. Oh, believe me, he'll be back, and it won't be very long before he's back. After this, we had Alexa Bliss with Charlotte Flair in her corner, taking on Jade Cargill, who had the baddies, Michin and B-Fab in hers. Later in the match, there was an attempt by Bliss at a high cross body. She got snatched right out of the air, caught by Jade, but she reversed out of that into a Sister Abigail DDT attempt. And when she did, boy, she got a nice pop for it too. She couldn't follow through, though, on the move. Jade was able to counter out of that. The baddies got involved here, so Charlotte reciprocated. And then Michin went after Charlotte. Charlotte took out Michin, but then B-Fab took out Charlotte. B-Fab at that point gets up on the apron. Alexa then knocks B-Fab off the apron, but then she turned and walked right into a pump kick. And then Jade put her down with Jaded to win the match. Now, when the match was over, the baddies, they were going on a 3-on-1 assault here, basically on Charlotte. Meanwhile, Jade grabs a steel chair, or they grab one for her. Alexa is still down. She places Alexa's left arm in the chair, and I thought she was going to stomp on it, like Pillmanize it. She didn't do that. She begins to bend the chair backwards a little bit, and you can see the angle of Alexa's elbow. It's all like the torque is being put on it. It's bending at this disgusting angle. And again, for those of you who don't remember, or if you weren't watching SmackDown back then, she is double jointed. They've done a couple of angles before. It's definitely more than once. They've done the angle where, excuse me, somebody does something to her and they, try to break her arm, snap it, whatever. And then she can just kind of, I guess, whatever, like just twist it in such a way that makes you want to vomit, right? It looks great. It looks devastating. It looks disgusting. It looks painful. I do wonder, though, if that is any of our double-jointed people can tell me if there is any real pain involved. I don't know. I am not double-jointed. Even if I was, I don't think I would have the balls to even try something like that. But anyway, so she begins to wrench back on the chair. And then Alexa starts turning with her. So it didn't really, like, the last thing Jade did was she gave it like one good snap down to the mat. And Alexa sold it well and everything. But like when Alexa started moving her own body and kind of rolling over, because she was on her stomach and now she's, I don't know, it felt, I don't know if it was meant to come off that way. Or not. That part didn't look too great. But at the end of it, she's selling the arm and they're showing the arm. They get a close-up view and it's at this disgusting angle. And it was great. I thought it was actually a very effective way of putting heat on Jade. She went after Charlotte's partner. She went after her best friend. They did something very similar earlier this year. With Jade and Rhea going into WrestleMania. I said the only card they really have to play here, if they really want to put some heat on Jade and get some sympathy for Rhea wanting to get revenge, you have Jade go after Io, which I believe is what she did to try to get to Rhea. So they're just running the same angle back here. They're just doing it with Charlotte and Alexa instead. But I thought what they did was actually very effective. JoJo says, it's not painful for me. Okay, good. Good. Well, you know who it was painful for, although this was not double joint. This is something completely different, but it made me think of Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon. When his shoulder goes out, it's the thing Rhea did at SummerSlam last year. And he has to find like a wall or something or a pole, and he smashes his shoulder to put his shoulder back into place. I would imagine that has to hurt like a fucking bitch. Oh my God. That's very different though. I had my arm pulled out of the socket when I was very young. It did not, from what I remember, it did not feel too good. In the back. Here we go. Here we go. Trick Williams is in the back. And Trick is very concerned because he seemingly has misplaced his United States Championship. Lil Yachty comes in and he says, actually, he got Trick a new title, a legacy version of the United States Championship, which now has a white fur strap. I want you to look at this thing. I have lifted these photos directly from WWEshop.com. Oh, they timed this out. I would imagine this went live tonight at some point, unless it's been up for a while and we're only first seeing it on TV. But hot off the presses, this is what the United States Championship now looks like. Would you look at this thing? Look at this fucking belt. They have turned the United States Championship into Gandalf. Also, they can sell them for $700. $700 for this. Oh, and believe me, they will. Oh, they will. They're guaranteed to sell out of these things. They just put up the Crown Jewel Championship as a replica for $2,000. They're almost sold out of those. This is the front of the belt. Look at the back. Look at this strap. Look at this. My God. What an ugly fucking belt. They made it worse. The United States Championship is a fairly nice looking belt, and they actually found a way to make it worse. I know, champions get custom belts. I wasn't really a fan of the spinner all those years ago, but there have been some custom belts that I've liked. I mean, like the Smoking Skull is still like the iconic, I mean, I guess you say the $1 million belt, but like the $1 million belt, the Smoking Skull belt, right? There have been some really cool custom belts. This is not one of them. Yes, it looks like a fucking Furby. Look at this thing. Oh my God. Now I can't wait for him to lose this championship. But the fact that they're selling these, he ain't losing that title anytime soon. I can't wait, though, for him to lose this belt now, so we don't have to look at this anymore. We had Trick Williams, though, in a non-title match after this against Carmelo Hayes. Now, early in this match, they showed Ricky saying, yeah, they're not shipping it until November. That's a good point, Uffman. So I'm not expecting him to be dropping this title anytime soon. These belts don't even ship out until November. Falcon Star says the $1 million belt was awesome. The $1 million belt was awesome. The $1 million belt was very, very cool. Actually, what was really cool about the $1 million belt is when DiBiase finally went into the jewelry shop to pick up the belt after weeks and weeks and weeks of vignettes, and he busts into the shop, and he's wearing a cape for reasons that I still don't understand. He's wearing a fucking cape, and he just busts through the doors, and he says, "I'm here!" And everyone's all spooked. He almost gave him a heart attack. And then the guy's like, "Yes, Mr. DiBiase, we're finally finished. We finally have a championship belt ready for you, worthy of you." And we never see what the belt looks like. But they have this great shot, very over the top. The guy is like opening the box or whatever that it's in, and we see a point of view shot from like looking up at DiBiase's face. And he's just looking at it, and he that maniacal like cackle and laugh. It was like so over the top and cheesy, but it was so fucking great. And then they debuted the belt, and it looked tremendous. It looked tremendous. Not worth $1 million. I think he said the belt was made for about $40,000, but still, hey, to me, a $40,000 belt is still a very expensive belt. They showed Ricky Saints on a television in the back watching this match. These two, I thought, were actually having a pretty solid match that was building nicely. I can't fault them for not wanting to give too much away here. I think they gave just enough away. But I can't fault them for not wanting to give too much away if the plan is to run this back at SummerSlam. But about that, Hayes' first 48 got countered into a Uranagi. Hayes, though, countered that into a roll-up for a 2 count. So Mello was looking for another frog splash after he had hit a successful one earlier in the match. And it was a great one, too. He got some great height on it. This time, though, he crashed and burned. And outside the ring, they ended up outside the ring. Hayes shoved Trick into Lil Yachty, and Yachty took a bump, went down. Back inside, Mello connected with the first 48, and he headed up to the top. When all of a sudden, we hear this commotion from the crowd, and I'm like, is Ricky Saints coming out? Like, what's happening here? And Baron Corbin is on the apron. I'm like, what the fuck? What's he doing here? We knew he was coming back, right? He just, I think, had to vacate one of his championships, tag team title, I think, in MLW. It seemed pretty clear he was on his way back, but I just had it in my head that he was going to be involved in some comedy bullshit and certainly was not going to be involved in any of this. And all of a sudden, there he is in the middle of this match, and he is standing on the apron. And Hayes looks down at him, and Hayes ends up, getting knocked off the ropes. And the referee basically just throws the match out. So he gives Carmelo the end of days. He gives Trick the end of days. He goes outside. He grabs the Furby belt, and he brings it into the ring, drops it over Trick's body, and then he leaves to some generic music that they played for him. The match was going fine, and then he showed up, and it was a legitimate surprise to me. Not that he would come back, but that he would come back in this spot. That I did not see coming. Because of the stuff with the gurney in Danhausen's laboratory. And again, there were no reports about what he was going to be doing. It was just, we see the Danhausen stuff every single week. There's this long body, this big guy laying on a gurney. You hear rumors that Baron Corbin is on his way back. You put 2 and 2 together and you're like, oh, okay, he must be under the sheet. And then he wasn't maybe he was under the sheet. Maybe he just finally woke up and he decided, okay, I'm back. I want to go after the U.S. title. I shouldn't say that we don't know for sure that he was under the sheet, but it doesn't look like it's him under the sheet. So I'm a much bigger fan of reintroducing him in this way, because at least here he's being introduced into a serious program in the mid-card, for their second biggest men's championship on the show, instead of being reintroduced as part of some kind of comedy goof troupe. So already this is a much better spot for him to be in than the one I thought they were going to give him. What this means for SummerSlam, we'll have to see. Now, you look at this, he attacked Trick and he attacked Melo. So you start to think triple threat, because now they're both going to have issues with him because he laid them both out. Is that what we're looking at here, right? But then they showed Ricky Saints watching on in the back earlier, even though Ricky Saints got beat clean by Trick at Night of Champions. They showed him for a reason. Does Ricky end up being a part of this at SummerSlam? I don't really see the need for it. He was already beaten. You could do it, like if you wanted to do a 4. I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but I'm just saying, you have a bunch of people now that are involved in this U.S. title picture. I'm sure that we're going to end up getting Trick and Melo in the ring together at SummerSlam. But are they going to introduce Corbin into that and turn it into a 3-way? Based on what we saw here, I think that's a pretty safe assumption. As far as Corbin being back, when he got released, he went on an indie run. He found great success in MLW, actually, as part of that team with Dijak, like the new Skyscrapers. He did a shot for HOG, but he worked, different indies, and he was doing very well for himself. I know he had the gig on Sirius XM, so he had a few different things going on. I hope for his sake that this time things will be different than they were the last time when they called him up from NXT to the main roster, and it seemed like that was the worst possible thing they could do. Funny enough, I remember Donovan Dijak saying something similar, that when he was in NXT and he was chosen last, I believe, in the supplemental draft to go back to Monday Night Raw, he knew it was over. He got called back up, and before he even made it to Raw, he knew it was over. And it was. And so for Corbin's sake, him coming back, hopefully it'll be a little bit better for him. I'm not expecting anything radically different for him, just like I wasn't expecting anything radically different for Matt Cardona. Cardona is exactly in the spot that I expected him to be in. I suspect Corbin will be in a very similar spot to what I anticipate he'll be in. But could he end up having a U.S. title run? Maybe at some point. I still don't see them taking the belt off Trick anytime soon. But this is a good spot for him to be back in. And I think he's a perfectly solid, pickup for that mid-card on SmackDown. Yeah, I've ragged on Corbin before just because of some of the shitty gimmicks that he had. God, it just got to a point, like the Constable stuff and the Happy Corbin stuff. Dude, it was fucking awful. He tried to make the most of it. What are you going to do, right? You try to make it work. You try to turn chicken shit into chicken salad as best you can. I still say that I was the biggest fan of his when he was, bum-ass Corbin in the street, down on his luck, with spaghetti sauce on his fucking shirt. And that there was more meat on the bone there. There was more they could have done with that to turn him into an even bigger babyface. But now he's back, and we'll see. We'll see where they go with him for SummerSlam. But based on what they did here, I think it seems pretty clear where he's going to end up. So then to close the show, we had Gunther make his way out to the ring. And he called out Nick Aldis, who raced out to the ring and said that he had time to think about it. And he was going to give Gunther exactly what he wants by having CM Punk and Cody Rhodes at Madison Square Garden next weekend. And he announced it will be CM Punk and Cody Rhodes together as tag team partners, taking on Gunther and the last real good guy, Sami Zayn. Gunther told Aldis, "I warned you to fix this mistake." Aldis said the only mistake that needed to be fixed was me thinking that you would not be a giant pain in my ass after I signed you to this brand. Aldis then announced to the crowd that the SummerSlam main event would remain CM Punk against Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship, which again should put to bed any notion of Gunther or Sami Zayn or anybody else being added to that match. So Gunther had enough of this shit. And as Aldis was making this announcement, Gunther ambushed him from behind. Then he picked him back up and he dropped him with a clothesline. Then he put him in a sleeper hold. So here come referees and producers, and they're trying to, pull this guy off. And finally, they get Gunther to release the hold. But then Gunther lays Aldis out with a big boot when he gets back up to his feet, and he reapplies the sleeper, and he refuses to let go. All of these men are trying to pull him off, and they are unable to do so. They're powerless to do anything about this. Until finally we hear Cody Rhodes music. And Cody comes out. He did not seem in any great rush to get to the ring and help Nick Aldis. I'd be very upset if I was Nick Aldis. Cody didn't sprint down to the ring. He came out very casually. He took the time to take his track jacket off. And as he's in the middle of making his way, he did not even hit the ring. He was on his way to the ring. But before he could even hit the ring, and Joe Tessitore was in the middle of speaking. He was in the middle of a sentence. The show just cut off. Now, they had put the copyright box and the producer credits on like a lot earlier. I think when Gunther had Aldis in the sleeper hold. So that was already shown earlier, but they just very abruptly just cut the show off. Again, like, oh shit, we forgot we're not 3 hours anymore. Now on social media, they have since posted the clip of what happened when the show went off the air, which is absolutely nothing. Gunther left the ring. Cody got the mic. He wanted to wrestle Gunther right here, right now, send out a referee. And instead, Gunther just walked to the back and everybody booed. And that was the end of that. So we didn't really miss much of anything, but it was very, very odd. It didn't strike me as something they did on purpose. This is actually something we would occasionally see back in the day on like Raw or Nitro, especially Nitro. This was like very abrupt though. This was like, there's no way they were anticipating going off the air when they did with Joe Tessitore in the middle of a sentence. So that was just very, very strange. They seem to have mistimed the end of the show. But for the official SummerSlam match that we got tonight, there's this other SummerSlam match that is not yet official, but basically we know it's going to be based on what we just saw. Because now there can be no doubt. Even though he's already been reinstated, he's back in the GM role. Nick Aldis is going to wrestle his first match in WWE. Unless he picks a surrogate to take his place, but I don't see any reason to do that. The issue is between him and Gunther. And they've built it up now to where people are going to want to see that match. They gave us a PLE match last year between Gunther and Pat McAfee. If they could do Gunther against Pat McAfee, they could do fucking Gunther against Nick Aldis. And he'll finally get to wrestle a match. And of all the people for him to get in the ring with, like there are fewer names I could think of that would be a great opponent for him than Gunther. There was a period of time where I thought we were going to get him against Drew McIntyre. And I probably would like to see that match even more. I think the promos would be great too. But Gunther is not a bad opponent for him to have if this is going to be his one and only match. So we're just waiting on the official announcement after what we saw tonight because we know it's coming. Because think about it, like what else would Gunther even be doing on that show? And for the people who say, well, he could be included into the WWE Championship match. A, no. B, why would they give him a title match? Why would they reward him with a championship match? Why would Nick Aldis reward him with a championship match after he was physically assaulted by this man? It makes no sense. So that went out the window tonight. The only match that makes sense is the obvious one. And so the SummerSlam card now is starting to take shape. Roman and Seth, Cody and Punk, Charlotte and Jade, Gunther and Aldis, Trick and Mello, maybe with Corbin thrown in, Liv Morgan and Io Sky. How many is that? Because I think they were saying something about 13 or 14 matches this year. Penta. We'll find out on Monday. Hopefully, Chad Gable challenging Penta for the Intercontinental title. What else do you think we're looking? You think we're looking at maybe Tiffany Stratton defending the U.S. title? Maybe Blake Monroe. What else do you think we're looking at? Any tag team matches out? Oh, the 6-man tag. The Bloodline against LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, and Royce Keys. Still feel like I'm missing something, though. What am I missing? I don't know, but that seems to be the SummerSlam card right now that they have sketched out for this show. It better be Chad Gable against Pentas as I Am Kindle. I said it on Monday after Raw. They have one job. They have one job. It's the easiest thing in the world in that gauntlet match on Monday. Send Chad Gable to Minneapolis. Very simple. Oh, and Brock and Oba. I forgot the... the one match I forgot is the Hell in a Cell match on the show. Sure. How could I forget that? Gunther and Brock inside Hell in a Cell. Yeah, we still have no update on Rhea Ripley. It's so weird. They don't say anything about her on the show now for the last few weeks. She's the fucking WWE Women's Champion. And we don't even have a clue if she's going to be defending the title at SummerSlam. We have no idea. Could be JC Jane. I was going to mention there was a Fatal Influence pre-tape video promo on the show, but I mean, whatever. They didn't say much of anything, so I glossed over it. Sue me. Super Pony says KO against Sammy. I just have a feeling. I'd love that. I don't think so. I think you're wrong, but I certainly wouldn't mind that. I feel like the only hope at this point for Sami Zayn to have a match on that show is going to be Johnny Gargano rising from the crate. And I'm sorry, but that's not a SummerSlam match.
It's the amazing Gunther. Jerry Lawler loves Gunther the Magnificent. All hail Gunther.
Randy Bobandy. The Randy Bobandy. With a $50 Gunther bomb. Yes, if you didn't notice, there's now a new bonus goal. You already met the other bonus. So I established a new bonus goal in the chat. That goes towards that one. What did we do the other night? What was it, like 4 rounds, I think, of Be the Booker in one night? That was like a record. Right now we're doing 2. We'll see if we add to that. Let's get to your super chats right now. And then we can get into all that fun stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the main review portion, but we ain't done yet. Randy felt left out of the bombs. Yeah, Randy doesn't want to feel left out. Randy wanted to join James. Joseph, I hope you're having a very good Friday night, brother. Oh, that's right. He was going to go see the Moana movie, so you're the one. You're the one who went to go see it. How long before we get The Rock back? See, normally, if they didn't already announce that he's got these other movie projects coming up, I would say that he'll be showing up at SummerSlam after this bomb. But I know he's got at least 1, maybe 2 other movies he's going to be working on. He said, I enjoyed it. The Rock did a good job as Maui. I still don't know why this needed I mean, I guess this is just the live action version, but that first Moana movie is not that old. And it's like, I don't know that this was needed now. This feels weird.
Look at Richie Rich over here dropping all this money on me.
Oh, boy.
I just want you to know, I think you rock.
Oh, my God.
I don't mean The Rock, A Rock, you rock. And I just wanted you to know that.
Holy shit.
James Crawford says, so feel left out, Randall. Oh man, he's throwing shade at everybody. He's throwing shade at Boots. And now he's throwing shade at Randy. Coming in with another $100 bomb. Another red bomb. The Sea of Red from James. I love it. Putting Randy on notice. James, thank you. Joseph says, do you think Missy Hyatt is underrated in the wrestling community? I mean, there's probably a lot of people that aren't familiar with her work, and I think she was, she was she wasn't just a manager, she did other things, but she was a good manager there for a while. I don't know if I would say she's underrated, though. Do you see Kiana James in AEW in the future? I mean, the future there's a lot yet to come in the future. It's impossible to say. You're already putting her in AEW. No. I think she's going to be in WWE for some time to come. Happy birthday to Nick Wayne. So how old is he now? 20... 21? How old is Nick Wayne? I just guessed 21. Wouldn't that be something if I was right? Let's see. Nick Wayne is... How old is Nick Wayne? Nick Wayne is 20. 20. I was off by 1. Boy, did they abandon that whole feud with Christian, didn't they? So much for that. Yeah, Joseph says, do you know why Nick Wayne and his mom haven't been on AEW television in a while? I don't know, but I've missed Mother Wayne on TV. I think they've been stuck in Ring of Honor. Mind the Gap says, I have shirts older than Nick Wayne. You know what's even crazier? I've almost been doing the sound off for as long as Nick Wayne has been alive. November will be 19 years of doing the sound off. Nick Wayne is only 1 year older than the sound off. Can you believe that? Now that's crazy. That is crazy. Joseph said, did Raven and Brian Pillman Jr. ever have a match? Brian Pillman Jr.? No. I did not know that. Thank you, Joseph. Buy or sell, Bruce Wayne or Peter Parker? Bruce Wayne. Of course. It says, I am looking forward to your Dark Side of the Ring review on TNA. I hope so. I hope so. It's going to be a big one. It's a double episode I'm reviewing. I got a lot to say about TNA and Double J. That'll be on Sunday. One of the many reasons to look forward to the sound off every week. Says if TNA didn't make the mistakes they did and was very successful, would AEW still exist? Well, that's one of those what if questions, isn't it? Very possible that AEW doesn't exist. If the stars align and TNA ends up doing a lot better than they ended up doing, very possible AEW doesn't exist. Maybe the founding fathers of AEW were working for TNA.
It's the amazing Gunther. Jerry Lawler loves Gunther the Magnificent. All hail Gunther.
Misfit Wrestling Podcast getting in on the action. Oh boy, we're really creeping up on that bonus goal, aren't we? We're 3 out of 5. Misfit says, I know people like to make Dark Side of the Ring episode predictions. I want an episode on the Stardom incident where then World of Stardom champion Yoshihiko, off script, on Act Yasukawa, beating her to a pupil. Oh, no, I said Yoshihiko. I read that as Yoshihiko. No, Yoshiko, not Yo. That's very... I shouldn't laugh. That was a very serious incident. That was a very serious incident. Beating her, she beat her pretty bad, actually. Fractured her face. She did. God, I forgot about that. I don't know why I said Yoshihiko. I didn't know Yoshihiko had done that to somebody, but I don't know. They're getting a whole episode out of that one incident, though. That seems like a stretch. I feel like that's the sort of episode they might do at the very tail end when they really are just running on fumes and have no other ideas. Joseph says, what will Deborah McMichael's legacy be? And what will she be remembered for? I think she'll mostly be remembered for, within wrestling. Me personally, I would remember her more for being with Jeff Jarrett in WCW, but I'm sure a lot of people would say her time with Steve Austin and baking cookies and you know, all the things that she did when she was part of the Alliance period on TV. But for me, I just remember her coming out dressed up as like, you know, the, what state was she from? I was going to say Ms. whatever, but I forgot what. She looked like the prom queen, you know, coming out and everything with Jeff. She had the gloves on and everything, the white gloves. Actually with Mongo and then Jeff. It was Mongo and then Jeff. Beyond that, she doesn't really have much of a legacy in wrestling. It's not a knock on her personally. She didn't do anything else. She won the women's title in WWF and nobody remembers. It wasn't like she was an actual wrestler. She had no business being in the ring. Thank you, Joseph. I hope you have a great weekend, brother. Wherever you may be. Was she from Alabama? I don't know. I don't know what state she was from or where they were living at the time. Death Scythe says, looking back at WrestleMania 25, it should have been Edge, Cena, Jeff for the World Heavyweight Championship because Edge won the WWE title back from Jeff at the Royal Rumble. Jeff pinned Edge in the WWE title Elimination Chamber, and Edge pinned Cena in the World Heavyweight Championship Elimination Chamber. Actually, I'll do you one better. It should have been John Cena against Hulk Hogan like they originally planned, because that would have been the big match to do. And you headline Mania with Hogan, Cena, the battle of the two generations, and then Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, and then you have your title matches, and what a card that would have been. But just from like a promotional perspective, on the silver anniversary of WrestleMania, it would have been big to have Hogan in there in a match with Cena. And that would have been a good match for him to go out on. But he had back surgery and it didn't work out that way. He also says Big Show being in the World Heavyweight Championship triple threat was so forced and Matt and Jeff was underwhelming. Instead, have Matt cost Jeff the match and have Matt and Jeff feud after WrestleMania and Cena Big Show will still feud after Backlash. I would never have had Jeff and Matt feud. I wouldn't have done that to begin with. That was not the way to go. Death Scythe with a 20 says HBK Taker would have still been the match of the night, but Edge, Cena, Jeff would have had a better chance at following it as the WrestleMania 25 main event than Triple H and Orton, and we would have been spared that stupid Edge, Vicky, Big Show love triangle. Well, I definitely agree with that. I think it would have had a better chance of not dying after Undertaker Shawn than Triple H and Orton did. Plus, during the match, he says, when Edge is briefly... Boy, he's really thought this out here. When Edge is briefly taken out of the equation, I think the moment in crowd reaction when Cena Jeff would have got when they do their stare down and exchange. Yeah, I mean, again, better than Triple H and Orton? Fuck yeah, of course. That would have been 10 times better. Nico, like a tornado moving in with all these super chats. Look at this. Gonna see Evil Dead Burn tonight with my best friend. I'll let you know how it is. Please do. Somebody else asked me about the Evil Dead movie. I'd have to see the other ones before I see the new one. I just never saw any of them. Solo, do you think Sammy should be the one to win Money in the Bank? He's definitely a favorite, I think, right now for Money in the Bank. He's a favorite of mine to win it. Says, I don't know if you saw Sheamus's tweets. Assuming he is a free agent. He is indeed, and I will leave it at that. Solo, who wins the AEW Women's World Championship at All In? Tekla, Willow, or Mercedes? Right now, I'm leaning towards Willow defending against Mercedes and possibly winning and retaining the title. Talk to me in a month. I may feel different. I do think Willow is getting the belt, though. And he says, looking forward to your Dark Side of the Ring reviews. I like hearing that there is a lot of interest in these reviews. You never know when, like, the latest season might be the last. And I put a lot of time and effort into them, so hopefully you guys enjoy them. Hey, Oscar says Punk, WWE champion. Omega, AEW champion. It's the summer of unks. It is actually the summer of unks. Roman's not too far behind them, by the way. Roman, I would say Roman is up there in unk territory. You got Nemeth as the TNA champion. How old is Nick Nemeth? He's been around for a minute. Nico says, hey, Solo, I'm going to see Toy Story 5 tomorrow afternoon. I'll give my review on the next live stream. Please do. It was one of my favorite movies of the year. Not my favorite movie of the year, but one of my favorite movies of the year. It says, did you know that Billy Crystal was Pixar's first choice to voice Buzz Lightyear? He declined, but later on regretted it. Oh, I'll bet he did. And then he got the voice in Monsters, Inc. Yeah, that's one of those things where you look back on it and go, man, I shouldn't have said no to that. Have I seen any other Pixar outside of the Toy Story movies? Was that movie Up? Was that a Pixar movie? I'm pretty sure I saw that one. No, not too many other Pixar movies, though. I saw WALL-E. Was WALL-E a Pixar movie? I think it was. I saw WALL-E when it came out. Broly says, I know WWE is not great right now, but watching them after only watching World Cup for a month feels way more depressing than usual. LOL, I can't sit through it. You mean to tell me that SmackDown is not as exciting to you as the World Cup? Is that what you're telling me? Chicago for MBK. Hey, that Punk and Cody promo was not good. I mean, it was not their best work, for sure. There was no meat to it. Because I would hope they're setting up for that in the next few weeks. They have to. But like, this was not Seth Rollins coming out a couple of weeks ago and confronting Roman and getting into all their history, and they really just made this as basic as possible. Like, hey, you know, when I told you a few months ago that if you wanted a title shot, just say the word when. And Punk was like, when? And then they shake hands and that's it. Not a whole lot to it. Prince Vegeta says Melina against Alicia Fox is the greatest match of all time. Happy Friday. There is probably some, girl out there right now who would agree with you. Because it's probably the only wrestling match they've ever seen, and so therefore it's the greatest of all time. Super Pony with a $9.99. They really fucked over Sammy big time. At least Christian was on TV the next week after he lost the title and got a 4-month-long program with Randy Orton. Feel awful for Sammy. Well, he's taking a mental health break, Super Pony. And at least he'll be in the main event in Madison Square Garden. Where he goes after that match is the question that I don't know the answer to. I don't know the answer to that. It just seems to me like with him out of that scene, again, I mean, outside of the Johnny Gargano stuff, what else has he even been connected to? I mean, nothing else. That's why somebody wrote in before and said that him and KO, like, that's as good a guess as any. Not sure what else he'd be doing. Ooh, did someone say in the chat that The Furious is out on digital? Yeah, I wanted to see that in the theaters, and it was just out of the theaters when I wanted to go see it. I'm going to add that to my watch list. I wish I could see that on the big screen, but I'll definitely have to check that out if it's out on digital. Super Pony says, welcome back, Baron Corbin. Or welcome back, Corbin. I think he meant Baron Corbin. Mello and Trick sounds like a banger triple threat. I'm down for that at SummerSlam. Oh, I see what you said. Welcome back, See, you misplaced the comma. It changed the whole meaning of the super chat. Or you're missing one. You missed a comma there, and you see how important punctuation can be. That's why I was so fucked up when I was reading your super chat. Proper punctuation is very important. Nico says, can they coexist? As I roll the eyes in the back of my head, do you think this would lead to a fatal four-way at SummerSlam? No. There will be no fatal four-way. Misfit Wrestling Podcast with a 10. Someone actually saw Nick Aldis get the crap kicked out of him by Gunther and said, yeah, it's a four-way. It's... Are you picking on Nico now? Yeah, you can't watch the end of that show tonight and still think that they're doing a four-way at SummerSlam. The answer is no. Nor should they. I got to be honest with you, like Gunther with the world title scene and everything, I'm done. I'm done. Let him do something else. I don't want him in that match at SummerSlam. Even if he was available to be in the match, I would not add him to the match. I would keep it one-on-one. Flamethrower Fluff Salisbury would not ever happen, but I would love to have PCO as Danhausen's creation under the sheets. So you saying under the sheets kind of threw me off there a little bit. But yeah, I mean, the gimmick would fit. Holy Shit Wrestling says Vince is back and you cannot convince me otherwise. What was it that gave it away to you that you think Vince is back? Was it the return of Baron Corbin? Was it something else? Craig Humphreys. What's going on, Craig? Says, I've never seen Nick Aldis wrestle. Is he any good? Yeah, I mean, he's a solid wrestler. Yeah, I mean, he's good. Former NWA champion, former TNA champion, although his run at NWA was better than his Magnus stuff in TNA. Carried himself well, I thought, as the NWA champion. Actually has a couple of matches with him, but there's a great match at All In that he had with Cody Rhodes many years ago. Not a flashy wrestler. He's not the kind of wrestler who's going to be out there doing all kinds of like flips and moves that make your jaw drop or anything like that. He's a perfectly, competent, technical, I'd say technical in-ring wrestler. We got C Guy is here. Always like Corbin. He deserves a solid mid run. Well, mid is a good word to describe much of his last run. Hopefully this time they'll go a different way with him. Raheem Cody. Solomonster hoping to see the Creed brothers get a big push soon. Now that WWE said they are committed to rebuilding the tag team division. Where did they say this? I would point me to the statement where they said this. I don't believe it. I don't believe they're committed to shit. Actually, shit is the one thing they've been committed to in the tag team division. I don't believe them. Venom Kitetsu, every time you say one-on-one, I keep expecting you to follow up with the great one. I've been attitude era programmed by The Rock. I thought you were going to say one-on-one with The Undertaker. That's ruthless aggression era, though. St. James says, can we expect an LA Knight promo at CM Punk next? Why would he cut a promo on CM Punk? Because of what he said last week? I guess it would be consistent with some of the other things that he has said about people getting opportunities that they haven't earned. But no, he's going to be a little bit busy with bloodline drama and bloodline lore. He's still stuck in that vortex. JD was talking about them rebuilding the tag teams a few months ago. Well, yeah, he's out to lunch on that. They're not rebuilding shit. Jeremy, I mean, the reports about them bringing back Kaz and Enzo, and all of a sudden everybody thinks they're rebuilding the tag team division. Now, they're bringing back a tag team act that was over because they had a lot of catchy catchphrases, and they could sell a lot of merch. That does not equal them having a desire to rebuild the tag team division. Jeremy says this company could have had a fire SmackDown by doing something big like Cody or Punk heel turn, but instead it was I want a title shot. Well, why would they do the heel turn tonight? That would be lame. Why just give everything away? If Cody or Punk was going to go heel, you do it at SummerSlam. You don't just throw it out there on a random fucking SmackDown. That would have been terrible. I agree, though. Like them, it was a very basic promo. I mean, there wasn't much to it, but turning heel, no, you don't do a heel turn on the show tonight. That would be counterproductive. Prince Vegeta says Jacob Fatu gives me cartoon villain of the week vibes with his stupid catchphrases and his shaking thing or whatever the fuck you call it. Yeah, it makes me sad though that they've really cooled him off. I mean, I'm sure at some point the plan is to heat him back up months from now, and Roman will be back on vacation, and maybe Jacob will take his spot. But I don't like the way they've cooled him down. I really don't. It's terrible. Jeremy says, so since SummerSlam, Gunther has beaten down Cole, McAfee, and Aldis. Retired old guys like Cena, AJ, Goldberg, and lost every title match. Great job, WWE. He's the career killer. Are you not entertained by the career killer? He wasn't even the one who ended McAfee's career in WWE. McAfee did that himself. He's the one that made that stipulation for WrestleMania. James Crawford, there's that first $100 bomb, which I read earlier. James, thank you. He was not done yet, though. There was another one. This was Boots losing his mind here over Kathy Kelly. James, though, with that double bomb. JFC. Thank you, James. Like, who was Falcon Star says Gunther hates aging men. Apparently. Well, he's got plenty to choose from though in WWE. They have a lot of older men there.
It's the amazing Gunther.
And in AEW too.
Jerry Lawler loves Gunther the Magnificent. All hail Gunther.
I'm sure Gunther would love to get his hands on Kenny Omega and Jericho. Super Pony with a $50 Gunther bomb. Super Pony, don't go nowhere. I'm going to get to your message in a little bit. We got to get through all of these, though. Brian Vidal. Arjun FIFA. Yeah, we got a bunch of... Oh, my God. Is that... Oh, my God. Look who it is. Look who just gifted a channel membership in the chat. Do my eyes deceive me? It is Bulu Fatulu. Bulu. Where have you been? We haven't heard from Bulu in forever. I was starting to fear that he left us. Thank you for the membership. Actually, Scumdog, I think, gifted a whole bunch, I think 5 channel memberships earlier. Scumdog, are you still here? Thank you, Scumdog. Brandon Proctor says, I love you, Solo. We're almost at 93,000 subscribers. Acknowledge the #1 wrestling podcast. As we were last week. Thank you, Brandon. Yes, we are getting ever Ever so close to 93,000 subs. Only 7,000 away. Yeah, I do plan on resuming the classic sound off uploads for the Legends tier channel members. Right now, it's the first 13 or 14 episodes that I ever did of the sound off. They're all up there. You can listen to them if you're a Legends tier member, and I'm going to pick up with those. And the first 2 episodes of SE Scoops Live, which many of you were like, what's that? I was doing a call-in show with my buddy Noah the Mark for SE Scoops after Raw on Monday nights, starting in 2008. First 2 episodes are also up for Legends tier members. We have Venom Kitetsu with a $25 super chat. There was a new trailer for Godzilla -0 yesterday, shorter than the first one, so not much new stuff to ponder. Do you have a favorite Godzilla movie? Japan or US? As a New Yorker, how was surviving Godzilla's attack in '98? I didn't see the '98 one when it first came out. I saw it many years later. If I had a favorite one, man, I really enjoyed -1, which is why I want to see -0. I might actually go -1 as my favorite one. I didn't see all of them. There were some that I missed. But of the ones that I've seen, I'm thinking -1. -1 was really good. And we just hit the double bonus goal. The double bonus goal has been achieved, which means that we have 3. We have 3 rounds. Do I even have enough left in the cup? I don't know, but we've got 3 rounds of Be the Booker coming up on tap. Man, you guys have just... You've unlocked the beast tonight. Yeah, for shits and giggles, we'll put one more goal up here. If we hit 4, we actually match what we did, I guess, was it Monday? When we did 4? I believe it was. I wish that they gave more flexibility in these goals. Like if you wanted to make it 3 of this or 3 of that, it's like 1, 5, 10, 15, 20, 50. It's a weird increment. We'll do 5. What the hell? Jeremy Rose says, SummerSlam has gone from 57,000 to now barely selling 20,000. Hello, TKO. Time to panic. Now they got to sell more furry belts and merch because tickets don't sell. They'll sell tickets. They're just not going to come close to what they did last year. And it's a combination of different things. You can't ignore the John Cena effect. John Cena was on the card, at least for night 2. Last year, and it was his final SummerSlam. This was announced and known in advance. We saw the effect that Cena had on ticket sales when it came to the weekly TVs, so that's part of it. But also, they just, business was still booming in a way that it is not. They're off the peak. Eventually, you have to come down from the peak, and it's also what happens when you price yourself out. So while there are still plenty of people who are willing to and able to spend on the tickets and the furry belts and all the stuff they're putting out, a lot of people can't. And so there are people that might normally go to SummerSlam who are going to be priced out. That hasn't really changed. The ticket pricing is still very much an issue, even when they have these ticket discounts, 25% off, like they did for the America 250th anniversary. So you got the 25% discount. For some of the live events this year, they've tried to discount tickets. It's not enough, though. And eventually their greed will catch up to them, but it hasn't yet because they still have plenty of people who are willing to pay those prices. And until that changes, they don't really have any incentive to change. But eventually it'll have to. It'll have to. What goes up must come down. Venom Kitetsu says, I am the learning Brie. Thanks, gents. Thank you, Venom Kitetsu. Raheem Cody, I read your message earlier. I don't have a good answer for you. Dark Effect. When are they going to give Jacob his manhood back? Let him get Roman's junk out of his mouth, and he puts that. This is family here. You're talking about an incestuous relationship. Let him get Roman's junk out of his mouth, and he puts down his purse before he talks any more crap. They've completely made Jacob look like a limp noodle. Oh, no. Let us not forget what Michael Cole said after he lost to Roman Reigns the last time, right? What did he say? What was the exact quote? The werewolf has been neutered, right? I think neutered was the word that he used. That's what he said on commentary. They neutered him. That's a shoot. Boomerang says, do we see a Drew McIntyre return at SummerSlam as a babyface to join the fight against the Bloodline? I don't know if I'm ready for McIntyre as a babyface. I don't think I like that. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. The Uffman says, bonus be the booker. Let's go. Yeah, we got 3 rounds coming our way. We're almost there. Jeremy says, will TKO realize their shitty storylines are half the problem with ticket sales? Gotta fire the old Vince guys like Bruce and P.S. Hayes. I noticed you didn't mention Vince's son-in-law in that. You ignored him. You went right to the Vince guys. Is he not technically a Vince guy? Misfit Wrestling Podcast. So, like, Big Cass is under Danhausen's cloth, right? I'll tell you what, and I think JD mentioned this on TNT the other night. When Danhausen spoke to Matt Cardona and told him that he had been on the phone with somebody who was going to be his backup at Saturday night's main event, my initial thought was, okay, well, that's the Jalen Brunson spot. And then Jalen Brunson went and had wrist surgery. So he may still make an appearance, but he's not going to be able to really play a role. He's not really going to be able to do anything physical. And, you know, his thought was, well, maybe, because it was in the way Danhausen said it. Something like, oh, no, like the person he was on the phone with was real. He's real. Right? Well, Enzo is real. That's his name on the indie scene. Real one. So it could be a spot where they're going to reintroduce Kaz and Enzo in New York, which would make sense. And they're going to reintroduce them at Madison Square Garden, and they're going to be part of the Danhausen JD McDonough match segment. So I could absolutely see that. In fact, I think that sounds pretty likely. But why would that mean Big Cass is under the sheet, though? Where's Enzo then? Why would only Big Cass be under the sheet, but not Enzo? I don't know what they're doing with the sheet. B-Man the Champ, great. Boring Corbin is back. Well, hold on now. Let's give him a shot. Corbin did some good stuff there at the end, and then they just got rid of him. So I'm hopeful that this is not just going to be a return to the same old boring Corbin bullshit that, you know, he was doing there for a while. I'm trying to be optimistic about that. Corbin does have something he can contribute to the mid-card on that show. Misfit Wrestling Podcast, I blame Naomi for the trend of shitty custom straps on titles. Well, I mean, she didn't invent it. Can't really just blame her for it. Retro KOH, Trick Williams' new gimmick is being a furry. Apparently. His belt looks like a strawberry that has been left out in the sun for a few days. Trust me, I know. Philip Bowman, Jeff Hardy's custom TNA belt looks better than the first strap. I'll tell you what, that purple Jeff Hardy belt from TNA does look better than this. Punch Perfect says, you missed the Fatal Influence vignette solo. No, I didn't. I intentionally skipped over it. Ragnarok with a 5. Happy Friday, brother. The boys and I got tickets to the G1 show in Chicago tomorrow. My first G1. Not sure what to expect, but very excited for it. That is very cool. What you can expect is some really good wrestling. I believe, is Takeshita going to be on that show? I think he is. Yeah, they're kicking off the G1 this year in Hoffman Estates, Illinois, which is where All Out is this year, just on the outskirts of Chicago at the Now Arena. That's where the G1 is kicking off this year. And then it should be off to Japan for Konosuke Takeshita for the next month. Misfit Wrestling Podcast, WWE should upload the off-air promo from Halloween Havoc 96 from Piper and Hogan on the WCW Vault channel as the pay-per-view feed cut mid-promo. They should, and I'm sure they have it in the Vault, and it'll probably pop up one day. It's just very random when they upload these things. They just uploaded a dark match from Boston between John Cena and CM Punk. I don't know what the year was on it, though. I don't know if it was 2011, 2012. What about the Fiend face belt? Oh my God, I forgot about that. You mean the Fiend belt that they initially sold for $6,000? I got to tell you, there was a famous phone call that I got on one of the streams many years ago. It was on, it had to be one of the Dynamite reviews because Thunder Rosa at the time was in the NWA, and I think she was the NWA Women's Champion, and she appeared on Dynamite with the belt. I'm pretty sure it was, was it Thunder Rosa? I think it was Thunder Rosa. This was Allison Kay. No, I think it was Thunder Rosa. Anyway, so she had the belt, and this caller was insistent that the belt was made of plastic. And he had a very extensive belt collection, replica collection, and he just was convinced that this belt was plastic. I can't believe they would allow her on TV with this plastic-looking belt. And I was like, I mean, it might be plastic. I couldn't really tell, but he was insistent that it was plastic. And I want to say that in the course of our conversation, he said that he had bought the Fiend belt. I think he had the Fiend belt, which at the time they were selling for $6,000. And I was blown away by this. That somebody would spend $6,000 for a belt, but I know there are people like, if you get like an originally handmade belt, yes, there are belts that will go for that much, obviously, but why that belt? It was an ugly fucking belt. I wouldn't pay $6 for that belt. That's what blew me away. Like, why would anyone spend $6,000 on that? Randy, thank you for the $50 bomb. Armchair Critic 10. 10 because he murdered the first 9. Favorite Attitude Era rivalry outside of Austin versus McMahon/Rock. I mean, would Undertaker and Mankind count? I mean, not really though, probably, right? Because it started in the New Gen era. Rock and Triple H was a great rivalry, and it was real. I mean, there was some real competition going on between those two. Rock and Triple H is up there. But if not Austin McMahon or Austin Rock, I have to go Rock and Mankind. Rock and Mankind would be my number 2. James, again, with another $100 bomb. Telling Randall, so feel left out, Randall. Cutting promos on guys left and right. Cuts a better promo than half the people on TV right now. Venom Kitetsu, James paid for some of your new AC unit. For the fuel pump. I have a new thing now where I noticed the other day, whenever I hit the brake pedal to decelerate, it makes this very weird noise like... They check the brake pads and everything. They say everything looks okay. I'm like, all right. As long as you say it looks okay. I put $1,600 into brake work last year. There shouldn't be anything wrong with them. Misfit Wrestling Podcast with a $50 super chat. I know some people like to make Dark Side of the Ring episode predictions. Oh, we read this one already. Yes, the one that I botched. When I said Yoshihiko, when it was Yoshiko. Yeah, I talked about that also on the sound off when it happened. I talked about that whole incident. It was terrible. What an asshole. Deputy Dog thinks he's a comedian now. He says, Solomonster, all gas, no brakes. Son of a bitch. Brandon Proctor talking about the $1 million title. Why in kayfabe did DiBiase make the title? Was it because he couldn't beat Hogan? No, it was because he didn't need it. He didn't need the WWE Championship because he was the $1 million man. He could pay for an even better title. One that was more expensive, one that was more glamorous. That was the basic gist of it. Prince Vegeta, I've watched Sopranos twice, and my mom has even started watching it and is on season 2. So what is JD's excuse? I don't know. I've been telling him this now for a couple of years. How have you not watched The Sopranos? It's insane to me. But he hasn't seen Obsession either. What a weird guy. Fast Eddie says, Solo, I'm a big fan of your Dark Side of the Ring reviews. When are you going to review this season? This weekend. First episodes didn't air until Tuesday, so this will be the first sound off coming up this Sunday since Dark Side returns. So it's a safe bet I'll be talking about the first 2 episodes on Sunday. And then every week thereafter, they have new episodes that drop on Vice every Tuesday. I will catch up with them during the week, take some notes, review them on Sunday, and then the clips will hit the YouTube channel a couple of days later. I want people to download the sound off, stream it, listen to it there, but they'll hit YouTube as well at some point. Probably on like a week delay. And there's a playlist, by the way, so if you ever want to go back and listen to any of my previous Dark Side reviews from the previous 6 seasons, these will be added to the existing playlist. There's a playlist section here on the YouTube channel. It's a bunch of different playlists. My Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, pay-per-view reviews, Dark Side reviews, countdowns I've done. I have them all organized there, so I'll make sure these get added to that playlist. And Alex says, Brother Solo, did you see Big Show's return before Dynamite went live? I love the guy, but it's time to hang up the boots. Oh, did he have a match at Beach Break? I didn't see it. Did they put it on their YouTube channel? Because how else would I have seen it? I did not see it. I thought he was going to bring back this whole Captain Insano thing. Wasn't he all excited about that? And Tony Khan bought the rights to it. Did he come out as Captain Insano? TLA Mark Bannon. How about a Dark Side of the Ring for Hana? Oh, Hana Kimura. It's still a little fresh. I think it's worthy of one for sure. I just think it's a little too fresh. They may not want to do it just yet. Although it's been, what's it been, 5 years? I think it's been 5 years now. At some point, I would say absolutely. I just don't know that they're in a rush to really get to that. Alex Ochoa. Fun fact, Baron Corbin's End of Days theme was the last ever WWE entrance theme composed by Jim Johnston. No wonder it was his best one. Now it all makes sense. Sylvester Dog, who just became a channel member, I believe. Thank you, Sylvester. Solomonster, if it wasn't for your content, I would stop watching wrestling completely because it is so boring. And do you think Cody should turn heel? I do. I do. For a long time there, I didn't because time-wise, it just didn't make any sense. Like, even when The Rock wanted his soul, the timing wasn't right. But we're at a point now where they could pull it off. And it would make Cody a lot more interesting, frankly, than he is right now. There he is. Bulu Fatulu. Oh, that puts a smile on my face. Seeing Bulu back. Now we just got to get ABK back. And Fahad. I hope they're doing well wherever they are. Haven't heard from those guys in a while. Bulu says, Obafemi or Jacob Fatu? Who will WWE champ first? Obafemi. Obafemi. Die Hard or Lethal Weapon? Buy or sell? Die Hard. Die Hard's one of my favorite. The original is one of my favorite movies of all time. But so is the third one. Third one is great. So many quotable lines in that one. It's really a bummer, you know, what's happened to Bruce Willis. Super Pony with a 50. There's the magenta bomb. What do you think of the idea of Gunther getting suspended and Sammy needing to find a new partner, and it ends up being Kevin Owens? I don't like it because it would be ridiculous for Owens to lose his first match back. No Punjabi prison this time. Oh yeah, so you just kind of stuck that in there. That's a Be the Booker reference. That's what we're talking about, putting Kevin Owens in Punjabi prison. Hey Kevin, I know you've been gone for a year after serious spinal fusion surgery, or whatever neck surgery it was. And so in your first match back, we're going to put you inside the Punjabi prison because reasons. Yeah, I don't like that idea either. Sylvester Dog, Solomonster, heard you're a big horror fan. Have you seen It? Welcome to Derry. Only nominated for 2 Emmys is shameful. Horror still gets disrespected. It's on my list of things to see. I have not seen it yet. And yeah, horror does not tend to get a lot of love at these award shows. I'm hoping that is going to change with Obsession, though. Because if nothing else, I mean, really the entire cast was great. Even the actor, Michael, who played Bear in the movie, he was very good. But Indy Navarrete, if she doesn't... First of all, if she doesn't get a nomination, then this whole fucking thing is rigged. Number one. Number two, she should win, but at least be nominated. She was incredible in that movie. Nick Grasso says, if Rhea can't get cleared in time for SummerSlam, then she needs to vacate the Women's Championship, and if that's the case, maybe Jade versus Charlotte for the title at SummerSlam. I guess it would make sense in that Jade was the last champion. So you can, Charlotte is Charlotte. So I mean, sure. You could definitely do that. You could definitely do that. I mean, because realistically, what are you gonna add to the show for the Women's Championship? You know what I mean? Like, if you wanted to crown a new champion at SummerSlam, what are you gonna do? You're gonna have a tournament in 2 weeks? You're going to have a small little battle royal? You're going to have a random match between Alexa Bliss and her one arm and JC Jane? Like, it doesn't make any sense. They would almost have to do that. They would almost have to put the belt up in that Charlotte and Jade match. Super Pony says if Kevin Owens is back in time, he should win Money in the Bank and successfully cash in on Punk to start their feud. You can't draw it up any better than that. To call it revenge for Sammy. I can get behind that. Jeremy Rose with a 10. How is Punk or Cody heel turn or hint of one counterproductive? Isn't the job to sell SummerSlam? Yes, it's QB1 versus the best in the world, but we need more than that. Plus, it makes SmackDown intriguing. For 3 fucking weeks, dude. Like, you got 3 weeks to build this match. You're not rushing a heel turn on a random SmackDown. That's terrible booking. You do it at SummerSlam to create interest coming out of the pay-per-view. You only have 3 weeks between now and then. So you don't blow a heel turn on TV between now and then. Yes, that to me, that's counterproductive. So you try to make the next 3 weeks of SmackDown interesting with a heel turn when you could really set up a major moment and then coming out of SummerSlam, set up an exciting next 3, 4, 5 weeks, whatever it is, until you get to WrestlePalooza and beyond. I don't need a heel turn in the next 3 weeks. I certainly didn't need one tonight. I'm okay with waiting 3 weeks for the big match at SummerSlam and not even giving us a hint about if anyone goes heel, who's it going to be? Right? Make people wonder. Maybe we're going to get a heel turn at SummerSlam, right? Well, then who's it going to be? Is it going to be Cody? Is it going to be Punk? And you create some intrigue that way. So you don't just give that shit away in a random SmackDown like this. Bulu Fatulu says, Solomonster, I work at Lowe's. My preferred name is Cena. Everybody loves it. You get a preferred name at Lowe's? You can call yourself anything you want? Interesting. If I worked at Lowe's, I would call myself Obafemi. Do I look like an Obafemi? I feel like I can make it work. And Retro KOH, my pet canine, had a birthday today. Now it is a cat 10. Am I missing something here? My pet canine had a birthday today. Now it's a cat 10. I don't get it. What am I missing here? I feel like I'm missing the punchline. Would I strut? Of course I would. If I call myself Obafemi at Lowe's, I would have to do the strut. I would be strutting through Lowe's. Like if somebody asked me for help, like they have to pull something off the shelf on like aisle 17 or something, I would strut my way over. I mean, when you're on the job, you got to entertain yourself somehow. Cats have 9 lives. Yeah, but what? My pet canine had a birthday today. Now it's a cat 10. I know cats have 9 I don't get it. Went right over my head. Joseph Brooks, you said recently that Brock Lesnar is Mr. SummerSlam. So does that mean that it is no longer Bret Hart as Mr. SummerSlam? Well, Bret Hart is like co-Mr. SummerSlam. They both have great success at SummerSlam. You can't go wrong with either one, but I'm just looking at, Brock's had more matches than Bret at this point at SummerSlam. And I have a feeling it'll be another really great one this year because their first 2 were, I'd say, pretty exciting stuff. So I feel comfortable having Brock in that spot. But if you wanted to say that Bret was, because for me it was for a long time, I have no issue with that. I mean, look at the matches that Bret had. A couple of great tag team matches in 89 and 90. Classic matches in 91 and 92. I enjoyed the match with Doink in 93. 94 is my favorite SummerSlam match of all time. 95 was like, eh. He missed 96, and then 97, frankly, 97 was one of the best main events in SummerSlam history, so he's got a pretty strong case. But Brock had that great match with Rock, great match with Kurt. Then the next one, I guess, wasn't until 2012, right? But the squash with Cena, the match with Undertaker, the 4-way for the Universal title, that was great. That was 2017. That was great stuff. Last Man Standing with Roman. I know I'm missing one. And then this year with Oba. You can't go wrong. You really can't go wrong with either one of them. Bret Hart against Brock Lesnar for Mr. SummerSlam. We may book it and be the booker tonight. They're both in there. Could very well happen. Jeremy says it's more than just 3 weeks. It can set up possibly WrestleMania, a WrestleMania match. Sure, if you do it at SummerSlam. There's your SummerSlam moment. There it is. Because think about it, like Punk's not losing the belt at SummerSlam. And if we assume that's the case, let's say Cody went heel, right? Tonight. Boom, he's a heel. He attacks Punk. Okay, great. So now you go into SummerSlam and he doesn't win the belt. Punk retains. You've already done the heel turn. Like what's the big moment going off the air? What's the big moment to close off this big SummerSlam show and be the big hook, to tune in for SmackDown that Friday? You've already given the heel turn away. You got to save it. It's like they did with Cena at the Elimination Chamber. It'd be like doing the Cena heel turn on a random episode of Raw. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? I want these PLEs to feel premium. And sometimes you got to give us a premium moment on a premium live event. I'd rather we get some more like great matches on the TV shows. We went the entire first hour, basically just one match. The second match, I think, kicked off at like the very end of the first hour. The one thing these shows need more of are just fucking kick-ass matches that we can get into. I'm not saying it has to be filled and flooded with matches the way that they do on Dynamite sometimes, but God, these shows, man, you can go a fucking hour with one match and then a bunch of terrible promos. And I'm like, what are we doing here? No wonder people are tuning out of these shows. You got to give us more than that. Jeremy says SummerSlam ends with a crazy alliance, like Drew joining Cody. So then Cody goes heel by linking up with Drew at the end of SummerSlam, united by their hatred for CM Punk. It's an interesting twist. Hey, I'm all in favor of anything that's going to shake things up at this point. Armchair Critic, I was surprised to know Rock Mankind drew similar, often higher ratings than Austin Vince and Hogan in '98 was a bigger ratings draw than even Austin. Well, he was still Hogan. Hollywood Hogan in the NWO until Goldberg finally took him down on that one Nitro. Hogan was still a draw. Super Pony Dragunov is cooked, by the way. For the time being, yes. If I have to assume it's a visa issue, that nothing else makes sense. They would at least be using him and we would be complaining about the booking, but he would be used. For them to not even use him, it's got to be a visa issue. And other wrestlers have had visa issues recently. We just got Mark Davis back on Dynamite. Apparently, Commander is finally over his visa issues. We'll be seeing him back on TV soon. Probably on Collision and Ring of Honor. But like Dragunov, Stephanie Vicaire, this has got to be a visa issue. There's no other way to explain it. If they're not injured, then what else would it be? What else would it be? I hope they can get it all worked out. And Jeremy, this product sucks. I just want some new shit. I do too. And in 3 weeks, that would be a great way to reinvigorate things on SmackDown. But I'm not even convinced they're going to do that. How long could a visa issue possibly take? It's a new world today. Things aren't exactly functioning the way that they used to when it comes to the visa process. So it could take quite some time. It's all backed up right now. I don't see it getting any better. All right, I think I'm caught up on your messages. At long last, we have arrived at what you guys have been waiting for here. 3 rounds of Be the Booker. Jeremy Rose with a 5. Cody creates a stable of Punk haters. Cody, KO, Drew, and Sammy. I could get behind that. That's kind of a powerful group, though. Like, how would Punk fight back against that? Who would Punk enlist on his side? You got Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Drew McIntyre all in a group together. I mean, who does Punk come at them with? Who's his backup? I know he's friends with Danhausen. Maybe he can get Danhausen and put a curse on them. All right, let's be the Booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the Booker.
Here we go. Round number 1 of 3. Coming your way. We have booked some incredible matches over the past week, man. We've been on a roll. I want to see this continue into Raw on Monday night. We got more matches to book. Our promotion is starting to boom. Business is starting to pick up. We're selling more tickets than we were selling a year ago. Business is up year over year here in the Be the Booker Federation. All right, we have the Holly Cousins kicking us off. Hardcore and Crash. The Super Heavyweights. I enjoyed that act. Gonna be stepping into the ring. Oh my, this is a cursed image right here. That's what this is. I will give it the bell, though. I will give this the bell because I do think that this would be one hell of a match. You got Bob Holly in there with Crash against Bret Hart and Bill Goldberg, who were, in fact, at one time WCW Tag Team Champions. This is Bret and Goldberg in happier times. Bret is he's seething right now as he sees this image. This is the before photo, not the after photo. Yes, the good old days. What a cursed image that is. We have Roxanne Perez. I'm a Roxanne Perez fan. She's going to be stepping into the ring with Stephanie Vicaire. Except she's not. Because Stephanie Vicaire is not cleared to wrestle because she doesn't have her visa paperwork in order. So therefore, she has to be replaced in this match. We must replace her. She's legally not allowed to wrestle and be the Booker. I tried everything I could, but the government works at a snail's pace. There's nothing I can do. Too much bureaucratic red tape. So instead, Roxanne Perez will have to find a new opponent. And it will be Rhea Ripley. Except it won't. Because Rhea Ripley is currently out injured and therefore can't wrestle. So we have to find another opponent for Roxanne Perez. This is not going well. Please, let's get an opponent for Roxanne. There we go. Well, we have Alexa Bliss. That would not be a bad match. Except we're never going to see it. Because Alexa Bliss was taken out tonight by Jade Cargill and her arm was out of the socket. So she is unable to compete. This is not going well for Roxanne Perez. Can we please get her an opponent that is legally able to wrestle and medically cleared? Please. For the love of God. Finally. Unfortunately, that's not a match that really appeals to me. But we did land on Ivy Nile. But I have to give that a buzzer. I'm sorry. And now finally, 84 years later, we get to the main event. This is only card number 1, by the way. We got 2 more of these to book. There we go. We have the former, boy, this feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it? The former WWE champion, Kofi Kingston, who is not even in WWE anymore. But Kofi Kingston is back in the main event here. Defending that WWE championship against the TNA International. No, that's not the international title, but he is the reigning, I do believe, TNA International Champion still. Mustafa Ali. And you know what? That, my friends, is actually a hell of a wrestling match. I'll accept that. We don't get the sweep, but I accept that as my main event. There you go. 2 out of 3. We didn't get the women's match, but we got 2 out of 3. Not too shabby. All right, now we move on to round number 2. We have 1 more to go after this. Unless somehow we hit that other goal, but I put that up for shits and giggles. But here we go. Stipulations. We have stipulations for all of our remaining matches. Hell in a Cell. Wait, I gotta get the voice right for it.
Hell in a Cell.
And after Brock Lesnar kicks Obafemi in the balls again, it would be
Hell in a Cell.
that's how Oba's been sounding over the past week. So usually I would start with a tag team match here. A tag team Hell in a Cell match, though. What do you think? You could do it. Yeah, we could do that. We'll do tag team Hell in a Cell. Why not? Tag team Hell in a Cell. Why not? I make the rules. I can book any damn match I will, please. The North. Ethan Page and Josh Alexander, the former Impact Tag Team Champions. A very good team who I think would have done very well if they ever got an NXT run back in the day. Hell in a Cell, the North. Taking on Red Dragon, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly. How's that for a match? The North and Red Dragon. That'd be a very good match. Where's the lie? There is no lie. That would be a very good match. Now we're going to pit. We have landed on Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. We're going to glow in the dark for this one. It is a women's match. It is a Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. And it will feature Becky Two Belts. Becky Lynch, who doesn't even have a match at SummerSlam this year. Becky Lynch in the dark against who? Becky Lynch against Mighty Molly. I'll take some Molly. That's a fine choice. Not a fan of the stipulation, but you know what? I'm willing to overlook it in this case because I feel like they would find a way to make it work. Why was Becky on the SummerSlam poster? I don't know. I don't make the poster. I can't tell you. Plans change, as they say. And now our main event. Our second of 3 main events, in fact. is going to be a hair match. So we can't land on any bald men. Otherwise, this stipulation doesn't really work. And there are a lot of bald men in Be the Bookers, so I don't know about this. We're starting out with, of course, a bald man. Fucking course. I knew it. I fucking knew it as soon as I landed on the stipulation. So we're going to pick a different stipulation because this ain't going to work. Wipe it clean. Try again. Inferno match. Good. That's better. More dangerous, but that's better. We'll start over. Here we go. Here we go. We have Booker T, who's definitely not bald. In fact, he's going to have to be careful. He's got longer hair, so he's going to have to tie it back or something. I don't want it to get caught in any of the flames. Booker T in an Inferno match. Against the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. There you go. Did Booker T ever wrestle Cody Rhodes? I don't think so. I don't think that's a match that ever actually happened. Hey, shout out to Chris. Near Fall Podcast. 6 months of membership. 6 months in this fine establishment, my good sir. Love the Sound Off, love TNT. Shout out to the Sound Off crew and the OTS family as well. Yes. Thank you, Chris. Super Pony says this fucking Cody guy won't go away. You can't get rid of him. Set Cody on fire. Boy, you guys are really extreme tonight. All right, we got one more round. This is it. It all comes down to the final three. Here we go. Brawl for all. We're skipping the tag team match this time. These stipulations lend themselves better to singles matches. So I think we're gonna go. We'll book a few men's matches, but we'll do the men's match. It's going to be a brawl for all, which was a terrible concept from the mind of one Vince Russo. So here we go. Oh, this is, I feel badly for whoever the opponent is because this match is already over. We have Al Boom Boom Bundy. Al Bundy in a brawl for all match. I know who I'm picking as a winner. I know who's going all the way to the end of this thing. Look, he's already got the fists up in the image. He's ready for a fight. You want to fight this man? You really want to step in there against this guy? I don't think you do. Al fucking Bundy in a brawl for all match. Does it get any more perfect than that? Al Oh my God. Oh, he's dead. Oh, he's dead. Oh my God. I have to compose myself. Adam Cole is going to fight Al Bundy. Adam Cole is going to die against Al Bundy in a brawl for all match. I forgot to hit the bell on this. I was out of my mind. Oh, you talk about a mismatch. You talk about a mismatch. Poor Adam Cole. He's going to be right back on the injured list. I love it. I love it. Now tell me you wouldn't pay money. Decent money. I'll pay TKO ticket prices to be there live to see that match. Our next match. What is our next match going to be? Our next match. Why is this not working? Why is this not working? I think when I leaned over, I think I jammed the button. Oh, there we go. Hardcore match. We have a hardcore match. I did actually lean on the button when I leaned over. I don't think anything is going to top what we just booked. But we're going to try. How about this one? We make the women's match, the hardcore match, just to be different. And then we'll go back to the guys. We have a women's hardcore match. Ooh, we have Zarya. See, that's the face of someone who's going to be in a hardcore match. Got that mean look on her face with the makeup and everything. Zarya. Well, I think this is back from her Delta days. Zarya, though, in a hardcore match. Against, look at this. This is Natty Neidhart here. That's who this is. Got the mouth guard and everything. Those are two faces right there. These images that are perfect for a hardcore match. This is Bloodsport Natty. We got Bloodsport Natty and Zarya in a hardcore match. Hey, we're doing pretty good so far. We got one last match to go. I'm kind of sad that we're at the end here. We need a sweep. We need a sweep. Oh no. Why do I keep landing on this stipulation? Why are you torturing me? Punjabi prison is back. You know why? Because I was just talking about it before. That's why. Because somebody had to shoot their mouth off in one of the super chats, and I brought it up. Fucking Punjabi prison. In the same week, by the way, where the great Khali was a guest on Chris Van Vliet's podcast. It's only appropriate that we have a Punjabi prison match. It'd be kind of funny if we got Al Bundy against Adam Cole in a Punjabi prison. Oh, as if Adam Cole was not in for it bad enough in Brawl for All. We'll put him in the Punjabi prison against Al Bundy. All right, we have, oh my God. This is not that much better. Ken Shamrock. Ken Shamrock in a Punjabi prison match. I kind of feel the same way I did about Al's opponent, where I don't want to be the other person. Ken Shamrock is going to wrestle Ken Shamrock in Punjabi prison. You heard me correctly. Ken Shamrock against Ken Shamrock. If that is not the most batshit intense, crazy Punjabi prison match that we have ever seen. What happens? Now, here's my question here. If you remember Ken Shamrock, when he would get in the zone, right? Usually in his matches, like when he got in the zone, he got all crazy. Now, what happens when you have Shamrock and they both get in the zone? What happens then? I feel like bad things are going to happen. Clean sweep. We got a clean sweep. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. AutoZone. Who said AutoZone? Alexander, get in the zone. AutoZone. Well, this was quite the edition of Be the Book. See, now, aren't you happy that we hit the goals and we were able to do that? You will forever remember where you were on the night that we landed on Al Bundy and Adam Cole in a Brawl for All match. And Ken Shamrock wrestled himself inside the Punjabi prison. Don't ever forget this night as long as you live. We still got a bunch of super chats here to get through. So let's get through them. We have Bulu Fatulu. Bulu, I don't know who these people are, but I'm going to go with John Booger. Oh, Joseph is back. Joseph saw Bulu. Man, if we can get Joseph and Bulu in the same place together, how amazing would that be? Batman Jurassic is his handle. We know he's a big Batman guy. I'm back, Solomonster, with breaking news. The Dark Order has re-signed with AEW. Seems like we're getting a lot of breaking news on AEW tonight. You got Hangman on Collision tomorrow. Now the Dark Order have re-signed. Do you remember when Dustin Rhodes was Black Rain in TNA? I do, and it sucked. It was terrible. And he was not in a good state, physically or otherwise. Do you remember the TV show Blossom? I do. In fact, they had a crossover with the Estelle Getty's Sophia Petrillo character from the Golden Girls. Wait, was it Blossom? Maybe I'm thinking of Empty Nest. I take that back. I think I got my shows mixed up. I don't remember now, but the Sophia Petrillo character definitely was on one of those two shows. And watching Space Jam with Michael Jordan. He's talking about the Michael Jordan. He's not talking about Michael B. Jordan. Thank you, Joseph. Retro KOH says Stephanie Vicaire can't be in due to visas, but Crash Holly can be resurrected for a tag team match. Peak booking. Yes, that's how we do things. Joseph says, could you see them doing a Space Jam movie with Hulk Hogan or Stone Cold Steve Austin back in the day? Well, if they did, I think that would be a terrible business decision because it would not have made any money. Have a good night, Solomonster. Have a great weekend. You too, Joseph. Space Jam with Hulk Hogan. I don't think that would have worked. Hey, Chicago 4MBK. Have yourself a good night, brother. Oh, Joseph, he amended his question from earlier. He said, I meant Raven against Brian Pillman Sr. I don't believe they would have wrestled unless it was back when Raven was Scotty Flamingo in WCW. I have no recollection of them having a match. I can't say it never happened, but I don't believe so. Venom Kitetsu, add Brian Zane to be the booker. If he greases the palms a little bit, I might add him in there. And Joseph says, Hangman returns tomorrow night on Collision. Yes. Thank you, Joseph. I did mention that earlier. Hey, Navy. Navy 4181, not 250. Count Rugen. The hell does that mean? Thank you, Navy. I'm totally out to lunch now. Claymation is an underrated animation style. I missed that. I like Claymation. The whole sequence with Ed 209 in the original RoboCop movie was, I'm pretty sure that was Claymation. And I'm sorry. I still think it holds up pretty well today. I won't say it's great, but like I enjoyed it. I like it. It didn't take me out of the movie or anything like that. Super Pony. I paid 50. 2 streams in a row for Punjabi prison. I'm cursed. We could blame Super Pony. See, if he paid 100 now, it would have gone the other way. Cam STL with a 5 is the Al Bundy Adam Cole Brawl for All match, the greatest match in Be the Booker history. if it's not, it's pretty high up there, I gotta say. Oh, stop motion. What did I say? I said claymation. I got claymation mixed up with stop motion. Stop motion animation is what I was referring to. Stop motion animation was used in that movie and a lot of other ones as well. And I like stop motion animation, but I like claymation too. But anyway, so is it the greatest match in Be the Booker history? It's hard for me to say it's the greatest, but it's pretty high up there. I don't know that I've laughed harder at one than I did that one, so it might well be the best one. And Alexander says, do you have Dan Severn in Be the Booker? I do not. I do not. I'm pretty sure the reason he wrestled in WWF with a t-shirt is because Vince McMahon wanted him to wear a shirt. So I just realized whenever I remember him wrestling there, he always had a shirt on. And I always just found that strange. I'm pretty sure Vince told him to put the shirt on. Should I add him in? What do you think? I don't have... There are some people I leave out. And there are other people... Maybe I forget certain people. I could always add him in there. But no, Dan Severn is not in there. Tank Abbott is not in there. I'm in there, though. As we found out the other night. That's all that matters. Thank you guys for a very fun stream here tonight. Look at this. I can't believe we've gone 2 hours and 45 minutes. My God. See, that's how you know you're having fun. When you go almost 3 hours. SmackDown may not be 3 hours anymore, but now I've taken the mantle of being 3 hours. But you have to admit, 3 hours of Solomonster is a hell of a lot more entertaining than 3 hours of SmackDown. I think we can all agree. And one last super chat here from Power Spying Games. Buy, rent, sell, Be the Booker matches. Bundy versus Cole. Hunter and McCall versus Hall and Oates. Heel Brett against JD from New York. That was a pretty good one. I think I might go with Bundy and Cole. I think we may have peaked with Bundy and Cole. Let's try it again on Monday. How about that? Bring the heat on Monday and we'll do it all over again. Next time you hear from me, though, will be Sunday. Brand new episode of The Sound Of, episode 971. And yes, I will be reviewing both episodes of Dark Side of the Ring from this past Tuesday. And talking all the news of the week. I got your mailbag questions all queued up. It's going to be a good time. Misfit Wrestling Podcast, Xia Li trying to be booked on Be the Booker was hilarious. What was it that she kept popping up or something? We did land on her the other day, but it wasn't as Xia Li. It was as Li Ying Li from TNA. I think that was on Wednesday. I think she popped up there on Wednesday. Misfit said, I'm talking about the multiple times that she showed up in that one Be the Book. Oh, okay. I was wondering. Yeah. Well, I mean, for a period of time there, it was the only way she was going to possibly get booked. It's weird, though. Like, I'm pretty sure Britt Baker is in Be the Booker, and we don't even land on her here. She can't even get booked in Be the Booker. It's terrible. All right, be well. Stay safe. Check out the Dark Side reviews on the Sound Off this weekend, and then back here for the Raw post show coming up on Monday, where apparently Solo Sikoa is going to get an ultimatum from the Bloodline. Ooh, I'm sure he's shaking in his boots. And LA Knight is going to probably take the Oofalafa and stick it up someone's ass. I'll see you Monday night.